Hello. Okay, wait, my thing's messed up. It didn't look like that earlier. Let me... Oh, I've got two for some reason. Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong scene. Duh. There we go. I fixed it. Okay. Oh, hi, friend. How are you today? Good, I hope. Good. We're gonna make Pop-Tarts and pizza, because eating food... Wait, what are you eating? It's probably gonna be really good. I'm gonna be very jealous, even though I'm making food myself. It's like the worst thing is that I always want all the food. Oh, rosemary crusted chicken? Yeah, that sounds amazing. Okay, so we're making... It's gonna be like a chimichurri steak pizza, and then we're gonna make some Pop-Tarts. And I think we're gonna do some cinnamon brown sugar Pop-Tarts just because I've never done them before. And then we're gonna do a little bit with just like jam in it, like the traditional ones. And then they'll have a pretty little frosting, hopefully, if it doesn't run everywhere and make a giant mess. But we're gonna start with the pizza dough, because that's gonna have to rise and everything. Yeah, I'm excited too. Probably mostly because I just like pizza dough a lot. Like, no matter what I have it with, it's always just like really good. Like, I would eat pizza dough by itself, to be honest with you. So we need 2 to 2 1/3 cups of flour to start with. I'm just gonna put it in this bowl. Oh wait, no, we're actually, let me check this real quick. I'm pretty sure we do a little bit at a time, yeah. So we're gonna do 1 cup of flour, and then we're gonna do the yeast, the sugar, and the salt. And then we're gonna stir it up a little bit and then add the rest. It's a good thing I read the instructions. It's been a while since I've actually made this pizza dough, just because I have a couple of different recipes that I've been trying out. But I think so far this one has just been like the winner. Okay, so we need 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. And you can get like packets that come in this amount at the store, but I usually buy it in bulk because I use so much that just having the packets isn't worth it for me. Like, I have a giant thing of it in the fridge. So there's our yeast, and then we need 1 1/2 teaspoons of sugar. I'm actually going to move the yeast to the side now because we're not going to use that the rest of the time, just to conserve space. And then we've got, yeah, 1 1/2 teaspoons. Let's get all the yeast out because I really don't want the yeast in my sugar. That would be weird. 1. Then we're going to do 2 of these bad boys. What else did we say? Oh, we're gonna add the salt too. Fine. We are doing 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. That is 1, 2, 3/4. And then we gotta add some warm water because we actually have to make the yeast rise. Oh wait, no. We're gonna add garlic powder and basil first. Hold on, I gotta get something. Yeah, that's weird. You can have it. I think I have some straws. Yeah, I use them for my cakes. I have boba tea. Thin crust. Well, it's a little thin on the bottom, but I don't feel like it's like a super thin crust. It's one of those things where it's kind of like in the middle, I guess. But it doesn't really look like a thin crust. Like on the outside, because the way it pulls up a little bit, it looks like it's a regular crust pizza. I actually might not have any boba tea straws. I think I might have gotten rid of them when I moved. We ordered boba tea from the store and they brought us like 1 regular straw and 1 boba tea straw. Not their best moment. Ooh, I'm just gonna pierce it with this thing. Got him. And then I guess we're gonna pour it out into a regular cup, because that makes sense. But I would say it's more like a regular crust pizza. I have rose tea. It's like one of my favorites. It's really weird, I think, to drink rose flavored things in general. But I really like rose ice cream too. It just makes me happy. We're just gonna do... We'll go back to the boba later. Okay, so now we're gonna add... It calls for garlic powder and basil, but I think I used all my basil. Usually what I'll do whenever I'm making like a pizza crust is I'll add like Italian seasonings to it, like oregano, garlic powder, just because it adds a little bit more flavor to it. And it makes it smell really good. I think that's probably like more than the flavor itself. It just smells amazing. And that is always my goal. Okay. I'm not really measuring those. I probably should be, but it's just kind of like guesstimate, I suppose. So I'm happy with it. Bum, 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 bum. So then we're going to do olive oil and warm water. It is 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 3/4 of a cup of warm water. And I've actually got the water. Hi, Val. How's it going? Yeah, the water's actually a little too hot. So we might give that a moment and pour it into a plastic thing. If it is too hot, it will kill our yeast, which I'm not a fan of. I will physically fight the water for killing my yeast. You're tired? Yep. So you just woke up, didn't you? Because it's like the complete opposite there and here. We do not want to kill yeast. There's actually a period of time where like, oh yeah, it does depend. There are certain yeast that we will kill. But for cooking purposes, like I had this yeast and I'd like held on to it and I was like, I don't want to throw it away, but it's kind of old and it just wasn't producing like the air bubbles or anything anymore. Like it was dead. But I didn't want to let it go. I should have let it go. Sometimes you just gotta set free what you love and get some new yeast. But then like the pandemic happened, so you couldn't get yeast anywhere. It took me like a week and a half to get yeast off Amazon. Thanks. I love my Simba shirt. I have one that's got like Stitch on it too. And they actually weren't very expensive, which I was extra excited about. They're like some of my favorite shirts because they're so comfy. Just kidding, my olive oil's over here. I know what I'm doing. I'm very organized. Except that I don't think I have a tablespoon measurer. Oh yeah, everybody became bakers. Everybody got stuck at home and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna bake bread. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to make stuff too. I was actually very jealous of like everybody who was home during the pandemic and they were just like, look at this bread I made. Oh, like this is my first time making bread. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, we had no flour, sugar, salt, and yeast for like 5 months. Like, I believe it though. I kept trying to order stuff from like my local grocery store or to like see if they even had it in stock. It was awful. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Making sure I'm not doing this wrong. I always gotta like triple check myself. There's nothing worse than like when I go to make a recipe. Yeah, look at my sourdough bread. Look at my banana bread. Oh, your parents did? Did they get into like the sourdough stuff or were they doing like the fancy focaccias too? I was so jealous of everybody. Like all I want to do is stay home and make bread. That's way too hot still. I think what I might do is pour some of it out and put some cold water in there and cheat a little bit. So you really just want it warm, not like scalding hot. If it would just stop wiggling in the thing so I could measure properly. Support your local bakers and buy it for $15 a loaf. I mean, like, you're not wrong. We had some, back when I was living in Orlando, there was this one really good, like, bread store. And, like, I could make my own bread, or I could just buy it from them and get really good bread without all the effort. That was my ideal situation. Hey, Jinx. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. We're making food. I'm trying not to like murder my yeast and my waters. I'm like over here like sticking my hand in it like full on. You can't say you've had rye. See, I like rye. It's like one of those flavors where it's kind of weird, but I'm always like, if like somebody offers it, they're like, oh, do you want rye bread? I'm like, fuck yeah. I just don't make it at home. Actually, I could probably figure it out, but I don't actually know how. Dark rye is where it's at. See, I don't think I've had dark rye. Ooh, what did you make for dinner, Jinx? See, Brianna's having, what was it? It was something crusted. I gotta scroll back up. I forget what it was. Rosemary crusted chicken. Yes. God, that sounds so good. Like, give me some of that so I can put it on my pizza with my steak. Freshly baked warm white bread. Oh yeah, with butter rolls. Baked chicken with rice and corn. See, that sounds really good too. I love rice, like even if it's just like plain rice, or like put a little like salt or something on it and like some soy sauce. It's like weirdly delicious. It feels like it shouldn't be that good. Okay, while I'm waiting for my water to cool slightly more, I feel like it's ready. No, I don't, but I do. I'm like constantly petrified I'm gonna like murder my yeast and then having wasted like a bunch of ingredients. I feel like I'm like borderline obnoxious about this, but I went a time with unrising yeast and it was the saddest time of my life. Yeast is very stressful. They're all like, you gotta make sure that it's like fresh, and then on top of that, like don't do anything weird or it's gonna like get sad and die. It's like more complicated than a houseplant. Okay, so we're just gonna stir this together. And it's gonna look wet. I think the term they call is shaggy. I think that was what they were saying in school, when it's like a shaggy wet dough. Okay, so then those are combined. And then we're going to gradually add 1 more cup of flour and mix until it's a cohesive elastic ball. Yes, shaggy dough, where it's like wet and sticky, but it smells so good. Okay. I'm really bad about doing things gradually too, because like my first instinct is just like, nah, I'll just pour it all on there. But I think we're actually not going to use this spoon, we're just going to switch to my hands. It's like awful, but it's great, because then I don't have to worry about like over mixing it, and I feel like I just have more control. Which is also why I always take my rings off during streams, because I know that even... Yeah, so I'm making the pizza dough, and then I'm gonna make... It's gonna be like a steak chimichurri pizza, which I was thinking about what kind of pizza to make, and I was like, ooh, like chimichurri sounds great. So I actually kind of found a recipe, but then I'm going to modify it a little bit because I want to add like some onions and stuff to it. But the base sauce is going to be a green chimichurri sauce, and then I've got the steak and the sous vide back there, which I actually need to take out like once this is done because it didn't need to be in there that long. Yeah, like my husband would probably say yes. He like helped me clean up last stream, and it's like I feel so bad because there's like so much of a mess, but then I'm like, well, you do get to enjoy like the fruits of my labor, so I don't feel too bad. Yeah, he pretty much says yes to everything. He's super chill. He doesn't really care. But we do have a guest room. The bed is incredibly comfortable, like half the time. Yeah, I did slave for it. Especially, it's the worst when like you start like sweating in the kitchen and you're like, oh, I can't leave yet because I have to finish all of this. And we're gonna add some more of this. I'm gonna double check. Yeah, it was 3/4 of a cup of water. I feel like it wasn't very much water. Yeah, so where my gaming room is the guest room. He was like, well, we've got to keep like a bed in case somebody comes to visit or anything, and I'm like, so what you're saying is that people are coming to visit. That's what I got at that conversation. Which Me? Yes. You can put on the nano leaves and have like a nice ambient lighting. Set the mood for however you're feeling. Maybe you're having a blue day. Okay, so I'm gonna move this onto the countertop just because it's so much easier. And hopefully you guys can see that okay. I might try to move it this way. I had to like move the camera earlier because I realized you could see my feet too much and that was just weird. You can eventually come down here. Oh. Hey, Painting Plant Lady! Thanks for the follow. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're enjoying it. You have a guest room and I thought about making that my game room. Yeah. See, I figure it's just a little bit of both. And if they want to play games, they can play games. My computer's available. And plus I have, like, when I play games, I'm on my desktop, and when I stream, like, for the baking, it's on my laptop. And actually, my laptop started making, like, these weird noises today, and I was like, please don't catch fire, like, midstream. But I took it apart, and I, like, cleaned it out, so I feel like it's going better. It's not making any weird noises, although the Bluetooth isn't working. So I was going to try to use my AirPods so I could use my headset without looking like this. That's not happening. Maybe some other day. I have a dream for the future. So I'm supposed to... I feel like this is way too much flour. My first food streamer. See, I'm like the same way though. My danger, like Plant Lady, is that I want to eat everything. So if I watch all the food streams, I'm like, yeah, I gotta make that now. And I'm like trying to like get the recipe and like make sure that I know what I'm doing. And then eventually it's like I end up with way too much food. You eat and watch at the same time. We've got a couple people with that strategy right now. Okay, I'm gonna call all of this flour extra and save it for the future because we're gonna have to need this a little bit more. But I don't want... Just gonna drop it in here. My nice messy kitchen. I don't want to like over knead the dough because if you start to over knead like pizza dough, it just gets chewy and that's kind of weird. Plus it's pretty dry right now. I think the last time I made this, the season was a little bit different. I don't want to play this whole game where the atmosphere is drier and I just keep going for it anyway. So now we are going to put some oil in this bad boy. Oh, Aqua, hey! Appreciate you guys being here. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so now we've got this whole little ball oiled because I don't want it to stick to anything, and we're gonna let it rise. Sometimes I'll use like saran wrap to cover it, but especially because it's so dry here, usually what I'll do is I'll cover it with like a wet towel, which actually needs more water than that. And then I'll actually put it on the stove top. It's not super cold, but I'm gonna preheat the oven anyway. And we're gonna preheat it to 425. So that's wet. Bake 425. Let me make sure I haven't put anything. Nope. I didn't put anything in there, because that's my other bad habit. I like to store stuff in there. Oh, clean teefers. Is that me or somebody else? Oh, Aqua. She got 2 fillings earlier, which wasn't awesome. Oh, yeah. A nerd out cooking stream. He actually wants to start streaming at some point again, but I took all of the streaming equipment, so he's gotta wait. Because I told him, I was like, well, you can just take some of the other stuff. And he's like, I'm not using a webcam. He's like, I want a DSLR camera. And I was like, well, suit yourself. But clean teeth are the best. I'm like one of those weird people. I love the dentist. Okay. So now, I'm going to show you guys this contraption. Because this is like one of my things where like, I love this thing. This is one of my favorite toys, but I don't use it that much because I don't eat that much anymore, which is also very sad. and crash each other's stream. You see me like sliding through. Yeah, I got that sous vide. I bought it a couple years back and I used it a lot then, but I don't use it as much now. But when I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this, I was like, I'm gonna sous vide the steak because it's so good. Okay. So a sous vide is basically like a water bath. It heats up the water to the exact temperature that you want to cook the steak at. So for like a rare, medium rare steak, you're going to cook it at 129 degrees, which is what I had this set to. And then you put it in a bag like this, and I had already had it marinating and seasoned, so it smells really good right now. And trust me, this looks weird. Like, it probably looks really ghetto, especially because I've got it in a Ziploc bag. I used to have vacuum sealed bags, and they just, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if he got his own or not. So whenever I bought this, my brother was like, whenever you move out, you just need to like give me a warning so that I can buy my own sous vide. And I know he intended to, but actually if he didn't, that's a really good Christmas gift for him. So I might have to consider that. So now what I'm doing is I'm just draining out the sauce that it was in, and I'm gonna get rid of this big old thing. So it's, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a relatively new technology. It's just one of those things that have really been primarily used in like restaurants. It's not like something that you just kind of like pick up unless you're either a chef or know a chef or somebody like introduces it to you. And I forget how I found out about it, but it was like one of the better purchases I've made. Like it cost quite a bit. I can't remember how much. I think I got it on sale. But I was like, I'm never going back. Except sometimes I still go back and cook meat the regular way. But basically what it does, because it cooks it at the perfect temperature and it's all vacuum sealed, you don't lose any of the moisture. So instead of having like dry chicken, you've got perfectly cooked moist chicken. And then on top of that, like even when I would meal prep and I would have the extra like I would put the containers in the fridge and then I would take them to work and I would microwave them. They were still like super like moisturized, and it wasn't like I was eating like dry microwave chicken. So the only like really weird thing, like very weird about sous videing is like if you look at it, it looks really gross because the meat doesn't brown at all on the outside. So usually what they recommend is that after you've like done the whole sous vide process, that you actually like finish it, and it's more of like a preference kind of thing. You can use a torch, you can use, yeah, I'm cooking a turd and I'm gonna feed it to you. That's exactly what this is. Yeah, this guy. But basically, like you just have to like flash sear it. You can use a cast iron, which I unfortunately don't have. Like I've really been wanting a cast iron lately. Primarily for something like this, but also just for like, because you can put them in the oven and make like skillet cookies and stuff. But now that it's dry, we're gonna throw this away. So the purpose of drying it is primarily because if you leave the moisture on the outside and you go to flash sear, you're actually just steaming the meat because of all the, like the liquid on it. And you don't want to steam it because then it's going to get rid of like the nice pink on the inside. Like you can see it a little bit. See right here? Like see on the inside where it's pink there? Because that's what we wanted, since it's going to have to go back in the oven with the pizza. I didn't want to overcook it. And we're going to have to slice it super thin. Which I think I only have my wooden cutting board, but we're going to let it rest for a minute. Because I also need to cut up some onions that I want to put on it, and then we're going to have to start on the chimichurri sauce. I kind of want to put this in the broiler, but I also kind of don't. I don't think I will though, since it's already going to go in the oven with the rest of the stuff. Just gotta free my cutting board real quick because I stacked a bunch of stuff on it like a genius. Okay. I'm just gonna move you off to the side. And let's get an onion. I think we're gonna do a red onion for this one because it just feels right. But probably not this whole thing because it's a freaking monster. Yeah, this thing's huge. Like, I like how sometimes I get onions this big and sometimes I get onions this big. I guess it just depends. Like, it doesn't even feel seasonal. It feels like it's like week to week sometimes. Because trust me, I understand how seasons work. Okay. I'm going to, I guess, use half the onion. I am a big fan of onion and really just about any vegetable because they're the best. They're nice and crunchy and delicious. Okay, that's good enough for that. We just ziplock this up and throw it in the fridge. I heard one time, and I can't remember if it was at school or somewhere else, where they're saying like saving half an onion is bad because of like bacteria. And I'm inclined to believe it, but I'm also like, okay, but I haven't died yet, so is it true? Or is it one of those things where, yeah, it's true, but it's like super rare? I don't know. But if I die, it was probably the onions. So if you guys never hear from me again. Yeah, just building up immunity. I've also considered that. I'm going to take off this outer layer because it's kind of ugly. Come on, little onion. Actually, we're just going to do this. That'll make it easy. Joke's on you, onion. I've got a knife. You'll never take me alive. Okay. Let's get all this out of the way. Like, I love having a big cutting board because I just want to take up all the space. If I have to cut on a small cutting board, like, my life is ruined. Okay, I think we're gonna do... I don't want to necessarily dice them, but I definitely want to get some, like, slivers and then maybe cut them in half because I want it to be easy to eat. And we're just gonna go like this. That way we've got long pieces, and they're definitely like present, but it's not gonna be like hanging out of your mouth, or you're not like looking like a giraffe while you're trying to eat. Yeah. Okay, have a good night. I hope dinner's delicious, and thank you for stopping by, Plant Lady. It's super awesome to have you. This is the worst part about cutting things, is that I don't know where to put them, because I don't want to like put it in a bowl just to get the bowl dirty. But now, I feel like the steak has rested enough that we can do the steak. You're supposed to cut against the grain. So we're gonna do long slices. And it's a pretty pink on the inside, but we're gonna do it pretty thin just because, kind of similar to the onions, I want it to be pretty easy to eat. But I'm probably gonna have to cut it up a little bit shorter. Just pull that piece off. And then cut it in half. And actually, so the way that the recipe that I found did it was they put the steak on last. Like, they just kind of like did it as like a top topping. Oh, does it look pretty? Yeah, I'll show you guys. But that's like how the sous vide works, is that you get this like perfect pink strip on the inside, and then if you were to sear it or to use like a torch, you would have like a nice crust on the outside. And I do like me a good crust. But the thing that I really liked about using sous vide for this was that it kept it very, I guess, like, controlled. I didn't have to worry about like overdoing it or cooking it too long. It's just solid. Because I was worried that if I tried to do it in the pan, because I don't have a cast iron, I can't really do that kind of flash sear that I would be wanting. And I would be afraid to overcook it, and then I just have like a weird chewy pizza. Okay, that piece is weird. So I'm actually going to save it for the dogs. going on there. So now I'm just cutting them into more bite-size appropriate pieces. And I kind of feel like this is probably too much steak for a pizza, but I don't really care. Get in there. No, he's got to watch the babies. Just because Panini's gotten into this habit of like getting under my feet, and I don't really want to trip and fall midstream right now. Maybe once I've been like doing it a little bit longer again, we'll try that, but he's gonna get to taste test once I get the pizza done. So I told him I would bring him some. You're not wearing clothes? Yeah, that's also against the terms of service. If my titties can't be on stream, nobody's titties can. This is a no nipple stream. I'll never forget one time I was streaming, my brother walked in like, you're back, welcome back. So I've cut up the steak, I've cut up the onion. We're talking about not having titties on the stream. But yeah, one time my brother walked in, he was like shirtless, and I was like, please get your nipples off of my stream. He's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, no, you're good. I'm just not sure if I'm gonna get in trouble for that or not. I'm not really trying to get banned just yet. Let's see. Okay, so we've got the steak and the onions cut up. So the last thing we really need right now is going to be the chimichurri sauce, and then we'll have to check out our dough. Theoretically, it should already be rising, but I don't trust it. It looks a little puffy, I can't tell. I don't really want to open the oven. Sometimes if it's too cold, I'll try to like open the oven a little bit while it's heating up. That way like the heat rises and it gets on my dough. But I actually don't want to heat myself up this time. So we're going to try to get away without doing that. Okay. So now I got to get on my phone real quick because I didn't actually print out this recipe. So for the chimichurri, it's going to be 1 bunch of fresh parsley, half a bunch of fresh basil, which I couldn't get tips on how not to cry. Oh, I think it depends on the kind of onion. So this one really didn't hurt my eyes at all, but like some of the white onions will fuck my eyes up. Like, it hurts, it's painful. But I want to say, I read online somewhere that if you chew gum while you're doing it, it like neutralizes it somehow? I'm not completely sure, but it might be worth an effort. Swimming goggles. I mean, I'm sure that they would, as long as you like block, you get like an airtight seal. Like, what is that? I think you have to like dip them in the water first, or like get the outside wet and then put them on your face. So let me grab the parsley, the oregano, and then I think the parsley is down here. That looks like parsley. So parsley, oregano, I think like there's some salt in it. Yeah, and then, oh, a garlic. We're gonna need a garlic. To hold bread in your mouth? The candle and chewing gum. Oh, it doesn't work. I mean, you could try holding the garlic in your mouth. Oh, sorry, I'm getting distracted because I was thinking about garlic. Like the bread. I mean, worst case scenario, it doesn't work and you're still eating a piece of bread. It's really not like a lose situation, because you're just kind of like making the best out of like a good effort. Oh, smell also. I mean, I don't really have any suggestions there. Then I think maybe some like, what is it? The Vicks Vapor Rub. That really like minty looking stuff. Put that like right here on your lip. The nerves in the nose and the eyes. Oh, yeah, it does connect. That's why I'm like afraid to smell stuff. Ooh, I should probably grab my cheese while I'm here. So we got some mozzarella cheese and some, I'm not sure if it's like cotija or cotija. It's Mexican cheese. This stuff. I don't know how to pronounce it. But, so we've got that, and then we've got some fresh mozzarella to coat the pizza in, which I'm very excited. Oh yeah, having a sharp knife will help. I imagine so, because then as long as you like get it done faster, you'd be solid. Let me see. Let's get the garlic going. That piece is kind of gross. I think this is like our old garlic. Pro tip, if you ever want to get garlic out, just smash it. It comes out way faster. There's one. And I'm not really worried. The gas releasing from the onion is what's getting you. Mouth cheese. So technically all cheese is mouth cheese, as long as you're doing it right. Which actually reminds me of how much like I love like the charcuterie boards. I dream about them all the time. Like every time I see one on, I'm like, fuck, that looks delicious. Okay. So we've got our garlic. I'm not really going to worry about mincing them on my own because we're going to throw them in a food processor with the rest of the greens. So the food processor, the food processor is going to do our work for us. And this is our parsley. I think I'm supposed to throw it in there like stem and all. One bunch. Doesn't specify. Then it's, oop, go forward. So then we're supposed to have 5 sprigs of oregano. And this, I don't really feel comfortable throwing the whole stem in there because that looks weird. It seems very hard. Like I feel like if you got a stem of oregano in your mouth, that would be pretty gross. Okay. Oh, 5. Somehow I grabbed 3 and I was like, yep, that's good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is my little baby food processor that I love dearly. I got it on sale, like most of the things that I own, because that's pretty much the only time I buy stuff. I just like wait for it to go on sale and then I'm like, yep, gonna get that. But hopefully it's big enough. I can't imagine that I would need anything bigger, because even though it's gonna look big when I put it in, it's gonna shrink down. Make sure I've got it on here right. Pull the lid off. Parsley we're just going to free from its prison. Go in there. Yeah, that looks like very full. Yes, frugal for the win. So if I save money on stuff, I have more money to buy stuff. And that's always my goal. Okay, we're gonna throw these leaves in here before we start it up that first time. I feel like I can just pull... Oop. There we go. So I think the secret to doing basil is that if you pull like the opposite way... Or sorry, this isn't basil, this is oregano. Don't listen to me. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I have to save money so I can afford a plane ticket to Australia. That actually sounds amazing. Like, I feel like I would be concerned about everything I saw because everything in Australia is trying to kill you. But at the same time, I'm like, right now I'm in Texas and everything's trying to kill me here also, so I almost threw this in my parsley bag. Let me get that out of the way, because the parsley bag is not trash. Okay, let's get our garlic in there. And back to the rest of our basil. I feel like the little stems are okay, or at least aren't terrible, because they're very soft. We lost a leaf. Come back, little buddy. Yeah. Like, I feel like Florida did condition me, but, like, then every time I see something, like, even, like, the bugs look weird here. Just don't go surfing in the water, New South Wales or Queensland. Isn't that where they have, like, those really, like, what is it, the box jellyfish? I'm pretty sure those will, like, murder you instantly. The koalas in the wild. I feel like that's honestly probably a thing. More regional areas. feels like a lot of oregano. Yeah, we don't have scorpions in Florida. I haven't encountered a scorpion yet, but there was, what the fuck? I think it was a praying mantis in the house. And I was not like worried, but concerned. Because, like, yeah, I've run into them before, but never in my house. Ugh. I don't want to come across spiders. It's a hard pass for me. Okay, let me check this recipe. So we've got parsley, oregano, garlic in there. And then we don't have any basil, which really sucks. Olive oil and salt. It doesn't say how much olive oil, which is a very confusing thing for me. Like, I'm just supposed to guesstimate. But I guess if it's too oily, I can always strain it. That seems good. Don't you guys have giant bats too? Rideable mounts for children. I will say that I am sometimes child-sized. Like, I think one of my shirts is a child's extra large. And I would like to ride something into battle. I'm not really particular on what it is. So, I guess, no, we'll put it on pure. I'm gonna stand back so maybe it's not too loud. It'd help if I had the song on right. I feel like every time I do this, it's like a struggle to figure out how to get it on. There we go. We're just gonna puree it to death. Let me try to move it so you guys can see it. Looking like a sauce. Are dangerous if coming across them in the past. Yeah, they do have chlamydia. I don't want to touch a koala anymore. I no longer want to ride one in the battle. I'm gonna need something. Ooh, I've got this chopstick still. I used it to pierce my boat. I'm just flung some stuff everywhere. Don't look. Maybe I'll just pull this stem out because it's getting in my way. Just want to stir it a little bit. I mean, it looks like a sauce. I might have to add some more stuff to it. I don't know if that's enough parsley, because the recipe didn't really specify. Ew. You're turning out the light units. I didn't need the straw. You're leaving the town for good. You're so dramatic. I mean, it's not a great town. The koalas rape. Ugh, they're just loud. Please erase the knowledge from my mind. Nope, you're stuck with the knowledge forever now. That way if you ever go to Australia and you just hear, like, I don't know, animals screaming. I think dolphins are rapists too. It's just really sad because, like, dolphins are, like, they're so smart and they're so pretty and I'm like, but you're an asshole. Actually separates the boys and the females. I feel like that makes sense. Because if you didn't have them separated, they'd probably just like mate at will, and you'd end up with too many koalas. Especially once they have babies. I feel like it's not really like moving my chimichurri anymore. No. I guess I'm gonna have to taste it in a second. I know I've made chimichurri once before, and I think it was saucier. Yeah, we're gonna add some more olive oil to it. 1 male per 6 females. A koala harem. Like, I mean, it probably is one of the worst harems to have. Or I guess, what is it? What is it that mates? Is it hamsters or like guinea pigs or something? Or no, rabbits. Rabbits are supposed to be really bad. Like they just like spread exponentially. Very hit and miss in the wild. I just don't like, that's the thing about koalas is like they look cute and cuddly and they're so small, but they're still bears. Like bears will fuck your shit up. They do not care. I feel like it's better with the added olive oil, which makes me feel like I should add some more. Maybe I should change it to chop. Just, you know, for some variety. They look jacked. You're talking about koalas still? Sorry, I'm gonna try to stand away from this thing. It feels very loud, but it also feels like it's just more of like an annoying whirring sound. Okay, we're gonna leave it at that for now. And I think that whenever I put it on the pizza, if it looks like maybe it's not enough, we'll make some more. Because I've got some more parsley. I just don't want to make like a ton of chimichurri and then end up with like leftovers, I guess. So let's check on the pizza dough. Oh yeah, it's nice and puffy. So this is what it looks like right now. I would say it's close to having doubled in size, so we're probably good to go ahead and roll it out. Which means that I've got to make space because this was supposed to be a rolling out space. I was like, oh, I'll stick close to this side of the house this time. And now I've taken up like all my own space. Oh, kangaroos. A kangaroo will fuck your shit up. Like, I've seen some videos. Like, obviously I'm not Australian and I've never been there, but I trust those videos. I would be like, if I saw a kangaroo, I'd probably try to like not make eye contact and just like slowly back away. Okay, let me go get the babies real quick. That way we can give them a treat. Oh, I should get the treats out first. If I don't do it first, they try to like get up here. This is the dog treat drawer, so it was actually very convenient. They will be very pleased. Let me find the children. Come on, children, you've been summoned. They're gonna act like little crackheads now. Let me make sure I back up far enough so you guys can see them. Leave it, come on. Sit. Can you guys see him? No. You gotta rotate or something, Basil. Sit. Okay, or lay down, that's good enough too. Soft. Soft. Here you go, Nini. We don't make Nini sit on the floor, really. He's the little one. Because he doesn't like his cold butt touching the floor. Like, it's too chilly for him. When he was a puppy and we were trying to train him, like, you would tell him to sit and he would just, like, prance aggressively. And then he would back up onto, like, a carpet and then he would sit. Okay, come here again. They're trying to eat, like, the chimichurri off the floor and I don't know if that's sanitary. Soft. Here you go, Nini. I gotta wash my hands because y'all are gross. Thanks, Aqua, for redeeming a pet treat. So I don't get to do it that often. I always keep like treats at my desk, so I'll get like the stare down when they know that like, you got treats up there, but you're not sharing. Just behave, children. Anything for the puppers? Yeah, they're friggin' spoiled and like they know it. Landing from a parachute and the kangaroo came over and punched him. Oh my god. Like that would be... Oh my god, it's like that video, have you seen there's like a surfer and they're like standing up on the board and they're like riding the wave and suddenly the... Or no, they might be paddle boarding but like in like a surfing position. The dolphin like flies out of nowhere and like body slams them. That's fucked up. Like that dolphin... Hi! Hey girl, hey! Thanks. I think I actually got it when I was with you, didn't I? I think we were at like... Was it EDC? When we got them? We went to like Marshall's or something. And I found this one in the Stitch shirt. Okay, now we're gonna roll out the pie dough. Or not the pie dough. You distracted me. This is the pizza dough. But we will be making pie dough at some point. Actually, I'm gonna sift this before I use it because it's still got like crusty dough pieces. Basil, you gotta move your butt cheeks, child. This is not the place for your shenanigans right now. We'll use this one. This is my handy dandy little sifter that makes me feel fancy. Because I can just go like this. Well, yes, I am spreading my flour everywhere quite gently. And then we'll just put that there. It's Pie's pizza dough. Ooh, that was loud. Sorry, team. Okay, so first what we're going to do is flatten it. And then I'm going to get my rolling pin and we're going to roll it out. I just don't want it to stick to anything. There's nothing worse than like you've rolled out. Mr. Gooks, thanks for the raid. How are you guys doing? Pizza pie. Scoot. Move, children. Raid, raid, raid. What did you make? Were you cooking food or were you making, well, cooking food or making games? Playing games. We're just gonna roll this out real quick. Normally, I think I'm supposed to knead it a little bit more, but honestly, I feel like it's like the perfect texture right now and the perfect like yeah, cooking games or playing food. Technically, there are cooking VR games. Oh, my husband sent you here? I'm sorry. You want to see the fancy pizza? I mean, hopefully it's fancy. So it's gonna be a chimichurri steak pizza. I'll show you the steak in a second. So I sous vide the steak. Ooh, Red Dead. Actually, I've been meaning to play that. Yeehaw Skyrim. But we're just rolling out the pizza dough for now. It's got some oregano and it's got some garlic powder in it, so it smells actually quite amazing. Oh, is it very popular? Oh yeah, it sounds really good on barbecue. I'm assuming that you guys don't use like that sweet barbecue sauce that we use here. Oh yeah, and The Witcher. I've been meaning to play Witcher 2. Well, Witcher 3 also, I guess is probably the better way to say it. But hopefully the pizza crust turns out okay. I almost like never get it in like a really good circle, but it's fine because it makes it look authentic. Real cuck. Yeah, my husband sent you. Listen, I know that he can be like aggressive because sometimes like his other friends come watch me and I'm like, did he make you do this? The answer is probably usually yes. He is in the other room. He's on his games or his computer. But he's allegedly not dressed, so he won't be making a presentation. So this is all rolled out. I'm gonna get my pizza pan. Usually what I'll do is I'll oil it a little bit. Nothing ever really calls for it, and it's technically like a non-stick pan. Your husband has no friends to send you. It's super nice. Ooh, you guys are having pizza too? I want more pizza. I like all the pizzas. Like that's one of my favorite things about pizza is that you can make it into anything. There was one time like I woke my husband up and I was like, I did something weird. I was like, I made a breakfast pizza. You have to come eat it. But it was actually really good. Like, just some Domino's stuff. See, Domino's is pretty good though. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like a food snob by any means. Like, I'll totally eat any pizza. But then if I can have like a really good pizza, I'm just like super happy. So you're basic as fuck. I mean, you're kind of better than me though. I don't eat mushrooms. They're weird. Real good since they upped their crust game. I do like their crusts. Oh wait, Aqua, aren't you? You're in Florida, aren't you? Have you ever been to Mellow Mushroom? I had to think about the name. That's like my favorite pizza. Like forever and ever hands down. Their crust is the best. Like they actually make their crust into like donuts where they'll sell it like pretzels. Okay. So we got the pie crust, the pizza crust, whatever the hell you want to call it over here. And we're just going to stab it. I normally use a fork for this, but since I already have this thing on here, Mr. Gooks, thank you for the follow. I've got my little counter going. Basil's always hungry. She's a fat kid. Plus, I'm like standing right at the treat drawer, so she's like, but what if I just had some treats? And I'm like, no, you just had some. She's like judging at me. I had a thought, but I lost it. It might have been about mellow mushroom. Oh, it might have been about my chopstick. Yeah, normally I poke this with a fork, but I had a chopstick out, so here we are. And then we're going to just roll the edges up a little bit just to keep everything in. I don't know if this is like the professional way to do it. It is normal to stab the dough. You've got to do that, that way it doesn't like bubble up and like mess everything up. That's the rules. I'm gonna have to do it with my Pop-Tarts later too. Okay. Which actually I probably need to start that dough soon, otherwise it's not gonna be ready. We're gonna be standing around waiting for it. Okay. So as you can see, my pizza looks very rustic, is the term we're gonna use. And then we're gonna add the chimichurri sauce. That hopefully, I'm gonna use this real quick actually to taste it. It tastes good. It probably really needed basil though, but like we couldn't find it in the store. And I thought I had some dried basil, but apparently I was very wrong. Okay. Like I'm also using the chopstick for this. This is one of my many talents where rather than using the proper tool, I just grab whatever I have near me. You're aggressively beating your dough. I mean, that could be a way to do it. So chimichurri, I want to say, is it Brazilian? Oh, hi Blueberry. Thank you. It's a very comfy shirt. 10 out of 10, do recommend. I have another one that's just like it, but it's got Stitch on it. But chimichurri, so it was basically parsley with oregano, and you're supposed to put basil in it. Okay, it's from Argentina. See, I was close. Not quite, but I was very close. Okay, you're from Argentina? It's cool that they have Domino's in Argentina. That probably wasn't one of the ones I would have expected. But, yeah, it's... I don't know if this is authentic. I don't think it is. It was like a recipe that I found online. And it's not... I feel like I probably need to make more. Or I just need to spread it out a lot more, maybe. We're gonna find out. I think if I just spread it out more, it'll be better. Because the more I'm doing it, the more it's actually like sticking to the bottom. And we're getting like a good base layer. This is how the professionals do it with their fingers. We have Domino's here, but we have the usual McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. I think one of like Burger King is known as Hungry Jacks. Does it still have like the king picture on it, or is there like a different like mascot? Do you add tomato to chimichurri? It wasn't on the recipe, so I hope not. Plus the picture that I saw for like the recipe that I was using for the basis was green. Okay, it does have a different mascot. That makes sense. I feel like if you had like a king and then you called it Hungry Jacks, that would just be weird. I'm still getting stared down by my dog. The big one, not the little one. The little one's over here. He's like sniffing around for leftovers. He's such a little scavenger. You'd think that I like starved my dogs the way they like get so amped up about dinner time. Like they literally turn into crackheads. Okay, yeah. I think this was a very good amount actually. I just have a giant mess on my fingers now. You would like to visit Argentina? I'd be down to visit Argentina. But we also have to go to Australia. That's the rules. I don't make them. You become a crackhead at dinner time. Depending on the food, like I totally can. I'll be one of those people where like I'm not hungry and they're like, oh, like how hungry are you? And I'm like, oh, I could eat. But then as soon as I know that we're going to eat something, especially something that I really like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm starving. Like, why aren't we eating yet? Oh, sorry, Blueberry, I probably should have mentioned it. So this is gonna be a chimichurri steak pizza, and I've got some onions and stuff I cut up over here, which they're actually going on next. I'll do this and I'm gonna move it out of the way. So I actually sous vide'd the steak so that it's like super pink on the inside, and then when we put it on, it's not going to be too like crispy or anything. And then I've got some red onions we're gonna put on it. My tattoos. Thanks. I'm very happy with them. They're actually, so I've got a couple like up here, but most of my tattoos are on my legs. So a lot of people that like I work with, because they always see me in pants, have like no idea I have tattoos. My legs. I don't think I can move this down. I don't know. I can't get any higher because I'm not very tall. So that's one of them. It's like a chimera. It's got like a lion head with some ram horns and some tusks, wings. There's a skull over here. And then so I've got, sorry, I'm trying not to like put my food on my leg. That's from actually Final Fantasy Tactics. Me and my brother have like a matching tattoo. And then I've got like a lotus back here. And that was my marathon time from like ages ago. I don't exercise that much anymore. Not really worth the effort. I don't like it. And then I've got, it's like a, it's got a word. Mandala, I think? Where it's all like symmetrical. It's technically not done. I mean, it looks good. That's what she said. Yeah, so the behind the knee was the worst tattoo I have. Like, it was incredibly painful. It felt like fire the whole time. Like, it literally felt like somebody had, like, a lighter against my skin. I was like, oh yeah, they're probably almost done. I looked back, they hadn't even started the color yet. Stretch on my kitchen counter. So I've got, like, an Indian skull over here. And then I've got my teapot up here. Just because I like tea. I think that's mostly it. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can get my leg up. So on the back right there, I've got like a little like unilome with a lotus. And then I've got some up here, but I'm not going to show you because my stomach's fat. It's not the greatest. Let me try to fix this. I've got it on like a little like swivelly thing. Yeah. Very thick. Yeah, turned it into a yoga stream. Although I don't like the warrior poses. Those are the worst. Or, what's the other one? Downward dog I'm not a fan of. They're like, oh, it's a resting pose. I'm like, there's nothing resting about this. Thanks, Blueberry. Sometimes I feel pretty and sometimes I just feel like a goofy mess. It's kind of like 50-50 depending on the day. But yeah, I really do need a good stretch. Like, I haven't done yoga in forever, because I used to do it a lot, and I miss it. But there's like no good yoga places here. So now we're gonna add some onions. See, I feel like sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes I just look homeless. Yeah. Sorry, Pie. Well, I didn't want to like call you out in the middle of the stream. But yeah, so like me and my friends, we all got like tattoos together. Because we're a bunch of nerds and we're always trying to like match with everything. Like we have matching shirts, matching tattoos, bracelets, rings. Yeah, we have rings, but mine doesn't fit me anymore. I was supposed to get like a new one when we went up to Portland, and then coronavirus was like, nah, fuck you guys. Yeah, I actually, so I have that one matches with my friends, and then I've got, nope, not that side. I guess I will show you, but just like a peek, because I'm chunky. My turtle, can't know what side it is. Yeah. Maybe we'll just like delete that part of the VOD, because my stomach's really fat. But, my turtle, so my mom has a turtle for all of her kids except my brother, because he still has to choose which turtle he wants. But then each of us have our turtle on ourselves. So me and my sisters all have like a turtle in about the same place. And my mom has her turtles like down here. So it's cute. I don't know, I feel like a nerd all the time when I'm like, oh yeah, let me show you all my matching stuff. But It's whatevs. It happens. Yeah. I don't know, I feel weird now because I'm like lifting my shirt up in the middle of the stream. But Nini just asked, because he's standing right here trying to lick the floor. That's why Nini's strip. Yeah, I'm not actually going to strip because I would probably just be really awkward and weird about it. I wish I had more tattoos too, Blue. Like, I really want to get... So the one that I have on my shin right here, I really want to get it like up my arm kind of. Like not the same exact design, but like a similar design. Just to do like the asymmetrical but kind of symmetrical thing. That's like the next one that I really want. But that costs money, so we're gonna not do that yet. We gotta make good financial choices so we can make bad financial choices in the future. Okay, I feel like that might be enough onions. Just because like this thing's pretty covered. But I have a really bad habit, like every time we make pizzas at home, I like way overload them. I'm gonna try to show you guys this. I'm like a foot from the counter maybe, and my dog is right here. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, because I can't get the angle right. But you can kind of see like her butt end right here. She's literally standing between me and the counter. Like there's a million other places that you could be right now, child. And this is really like the place you're choosing. Sorry, I'm trying to move this back out of the way of the other one. Yeah, there she is. Hello, Basil. One big one on my left side and then 3 tattoos. See, I kind of like being uneven, especially on like... My left leg is definitely more covered than my right leg, but I just don't have anything on my arms at all. Like I have this one right here, which was like the first tattoo I got when I turned 18. So I was like, oh, I don't want to get anything too big. And then from there on out, I was like, the bigger the better. Give me all the tattoos. Okay, we're gonna call that good for that. So now I think what we're gonna do is put some of the mozzarella on and then put it in the oven. And then when it's like halfway through, we'll add the steak on and then add the rest of the cheese. Because I think that'll give it like a nice layer without overcooking the steak. Open and enjoy. Yes, I will try that. But you make it sound easy. No, yep. We got it. Sort of. This is what I got off. I got this little piece of plastic. Just gonna go like this. Basil, this isn't for you, child. She's like back in front of me in the counter. Oh no, that's my cheese. I was like, oh, you could see her. It's just my white cheese. No, ma'am. That's not yours. You don't just get whatever you want. I'm just gonna go like that real quick. And then we're gonna go... I don't know if you guys can see this very well. I'm just kind of trying to cut the cheese pretty thin because I want to cover the whole thing. But I don't necessarily want the pizza to be almost entirely cheese. I also try not to like cut my finger off, so that's the other goal here. Then we're just gonna do this shenanigans. And we're gonna need more. Cheese, 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 cheese for days. And then slice. Slice. Let's see how we do with that. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 more pieces. I'll try to get them pretty thin because we're still going to cover it with more cheese. Although, I guess we're going to use this entire block. I don't know if that's a normal amount of cheese for pizza. I feel like whenever I watch like other people put toppings on pizza. Aww. Samande, thanks for following. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Please don't talk shit about my cheese. I'm trying my best. I feel like that's a normal amount of cheese. More cheese. Well, we are going to do more cheese. So here's the plan. We got this cheese. This cheese is going to start to melt. It's going to get delicious and good. And then we're going to break out this cheese and we're going to add it on top of the steak. That way it still like traps some more stuff in and we get some cheese variety. Because I'm all about variety. Okay, this bad boy's going to go in the oven. And we are going to check out... What's the timer on this thing? Flatten neat. Oop. Bake 13 to 15 minutes. That's not much at all. This is going to be done way faster than I thought. Let's set a timer because I'm really bad at this sometimes. So I remember one time, like when I came out of culinary school, the bakery was like, we don't put timers on things, we just pay attention. And I was like, well, you're going to get some burnt ass cupcakes. But I got pretty good at it, honestly. Which was surprising for me, but I'll take it as a success. So now what we're going to do is try to start the pie crust really fast. Because if we can get the pie crust done and back in the fridge, that's going to need to be in there for like 30 minutes. So this one actually says to put it in the food processor, but I'm pretty sure it's too big for mine, and plus it's dirty anyway, so we're just going to do it by hand. The first thing we're going to do is get some flour and a big bowl, which is actually being covered by all my steak right now. So you're going to go over there, away from the corner, because basil can't be trusted. And we need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I know I had a cup that I used for flour earlier. It's right here. We're good. Okay, so we have 1 cup. And then... two cups. So usually what I do, like it's not like a mystery in the bag or anything, I kind of scoop it and then it's like overflowed, and rather than like packing it down or anything, because that's not good, I just kind of wiggle it back and forth until it's mostly even. It's not like anything fancy. It's probably not even really what you're supposed to do, but it works for me. I haven't like royally fucked anything up quite yet, so I'm gonna consider a success. So let's see, flour, sugar, and salt. 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, which is this shenanigans right here. And because I've actually dirtied my tablespoon thing. So 1 tablespoon, this doesn't really apply to most of the rest of the world because you guys use an intelligent system. 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3... And then for the half, it's like 1.5. So we're just gonna guesstimate. There we go. 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, and then 1.25 teaspoons of salt. One and a quarter. Okay. Sometimes I don't trust myself to read, especially when like I'm like in a groove because I think I know what I'm doing, and while I do kind of know what I'm doing, I like am easily distracted. So then I don't, which actually, we've got 3 minutes left on our timer. And now we need to add shortening and butter. So here's the key to pie dough. This is my knowledge. I give it to you. The fat that you use, whether it be like butter or shortening or whatever you feel like living your dream with. Ooh, we're gonna use this masher. It's gotta be cold, because if it's cold, then you retain like little fat pockets. We're gonna bring a fork anyway. So you want to retain little fat pockets in your dough, because that is going to basically create, like, when you get the flaky layers, or like the little like soft buttery pieces, or if you have like a croissant where they like everything's like and you can really see it. That's because it was cold. That's like the secret. Don't let the butter melt. Make good choices. So I put my shortening in the freezer earlier. Hold on, I had a cough. Okay, we're good. This is 2/3 a cup of shortening, and then we're gonna need a stick of butter. But I'm just going to kind of like slice this off into here. Thanks, Katie. It felt like I had something like in there. Aw, Jinx. Thank you for the cheer. Although I really don't know what that face means. Like, it kind of looks excited, but it kind of looks like Jonah Hill. So I'm not hip. I'm not like with the times. Oh, the orgasm face? Is that what it is? I mean, it kind of makes sense for pie dough. Craigasm. That's reasonable. Especially when it comes to pie dough. Like, when I was in like culinary school, we made chocolate croissants one day. And like, I think about them all the time. And I really want to remake some. But then I'm like, it's a lot of effort. I would love to do it on stream. The only problem is that we'd be here for like 6 or 8 hours without a finished product. Like, it would just be us chilling because it's got to go in the fridge so many times and it's just like this constant back and forth. We got 30 seconds on our pizza, which means what I'm actually going to do is put both of these back in the fridge for now because I don't want them to melt at all. Just kidding, they're not going to fit in the fridge. There's too much stuff in there. I don't think it's going to fit down here either. Oh, it does! That's amazing. We'll just close it and pretend that that worked. Okay, so now I'm going to stop my phone before it makes any noise. Because I hate that stuff. You're getting hungry again? I don't blame you. Like, for whatever reason, I really don't get hungry when I cook a lot or like when I'm in the middle of something like this. I always just feel really full. Okay, so here we have our melty cheesy pizza. And now we're gonna add steak to it, and I'm just gonna grab a handful and come over here like a heathen. Just gonna do this shenanigans. I feel like I probably should have had more sauce with it, but I feel like it's still probably gonna taste fine. It probably really needed basil. Like, I'm gonna be sad. You gotta sample everything. I feel like if somebody else is cooking, I'm like, yeah, like I'm starving, like I've gotta try it, like I've gotta come in and smell it, and I've gotta like see what you're doing 24/7. But if it's me, I'm like, oh yeah. Because I feel like mentally, I already know how it's gonna taste. We're gonna do a couple more pieces. Just little baby ones. Just to fill in some of these spots. And then we're gonna break out this fancy Mexican cheese, which is probably not even all that fancy. I think it's similar to feta, but like creamier. Okay, and then go like that. That didn't work at all. I literally don't even have like an entrance into this thing. Please just let me have my cheese. This is all I ask of you. We're gonna need like a Ziploc bag to seal this baby back up. A cup of tea so you can oh, shortbread biscuits are so good. Like, so whenever I have like, let me show you guys real quick. I have this stack of recipes, and it's just like a ton of note cards. So anytime I'm like going through my stuff, I'm like, I have to go like one by one to find it. And I'm like, ooh, pumpkin pie, like chocolate cake, marshmallow fluff frosting. And I'm like excited for everything all over again. But then I'm like, no, focus, like you were looking for one thing, don't get sidetracked. Okay. I believe this cheese is super crumbly. So we're just gonna crumble it over the top. Oop, please get on there. But this was really what I wanted on this. No, they're not organized. Like, you would think that because I have all those colors that I would have them like sorted by color. And I've considered that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, there's too many like, not quite, they don't fit into any category. So I've always run into the issue, I'm like, well, do I put like a cookie cake in the cake category or the cookie category? Because it could really be either. Yeah, you're welcome to reorganize it whenever you come to visit. Stay in my guest room, organize my recipes. Like, really the only things that I worry about is like, I have a carrot cake recipe that I love that I've written down in like multiple places because I almost lost it one time. Like, I couldn't find it. I'm like going through all of my stuff. I was about to cry because I could not find this carrot cake recipe. But then I found it, so it was fine. But then I wrote it down in like 4 different places, so I would never like lose it again or have to be worried about it. And that's the story of my carrot cake recipe. Maybe one day I'll make it on stream. Because I think it was like, when I wanted to make carrot cake, I really didn't like any of the recipes, so I ended up combining like a couple different ones to get like just what I wanted. Okay, this is almost enough cheese. I'm really just trying to fill in like some of the outer spots without making a giant mess. But I also kind of feel like I should have like brushed the outside. Oh, hi Tetra. I love carrot cake. It's one of those things where like you think like, oh yeah, that's fine, like it's okay. But then like you have it after not having it for a while. So we're just gonna do this real quick. I just want to lightly oil the outside just to give it like a nice beautiful sheen. And once upon a time I had a pastry brush and then it started losing bristles, so I just ditched it. And now this is what I do. I always like intend, I'm like, oh yeah, I just gotta get a new one, and then I just don't. And then I'm like, well, this has been working fine so far. So I just keep doing this. I think I also have like a sprayer for olive oil. Oop. I was a little too aggressive there. Okay. I think we're just gonna drizzle a little on top too. Just because it feels right. Okay. This actually isn't that hot anymore. So we're gonna throw that back in the oven. It's got about 7 more minutes and then it'll be done. But I might even give it like a little bit of extra time, just like between me taking it out and then having to like get all the stuff on there and getting easily distracted. And then I had another thing of cheese. We're just gonna throw them in the fridge for now and then we'll deal with it later. That'll be an after stream event, figuring out where I put all the cheese and getting it back into a container. Let's see. This is actually no longer needed. I think we're done with the olive oil, so I'm going to throw it over here just to give us some space for our pie crust. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm done with that knife. I'll have to get a new one. Like, I think I'm going to need a knife to cut some of the pie crust, but I'll probably just get a pastry cutter. Okay. What kind of steak? It was a top sirloin, I think, but it was actually like a dry aged one. One of the grocery stores here does the dry aged steaks. Depending on like what day you get there, depends on like what kind they have available. So it wasn't too expensive, but it was a little bit more expensive than it normally would be, but they've been pretty good when we've had them in the past. Hey girl, hey. Thanks. I love my shirt. It's very comfy. Oh yeah, I put it in the freezer. I gotta retrieve my pie crust. I didn't want it to melt. So that was my solution. Move, children. They're all a bunch of scavengers looking for my leftovers. Okay, so now we are going to cut up this butter and add it yeah. So we need half a cup, which is 1 stick of butter. We're just tossing it in with the flour and the shortening. Oh, you just got here. We're making, so I've got a pizza in the oven right now. It's a chimichurri steak pizza, and then we are making Pop-Tarts. So right now I'm making the pie dough for the Pop-Tarts. And then hopefully I'll get this mixed together, and then we can get the pizza out, and then we'll have to, this is gonna have to stay in the refrigerator for a little bit, not too long, I think, because I've had everything frozen, but just long enough. Okay, so now I'm using, I think this is a potato masher, to be honest. Oh yeah, Basil, where is she? Can you see her from there? Yeah, her big head. She's trying to like find anything I've dropped. So even though she looks like she's being sweet and she just wants to love me, she's a fat kid. Yeah, the fluffy one. So sometimes the little one's fluffy, but we had to shave him. So he looks really ugly lately. Like, he just looks very sad. But he's still lovable. He was just like really bald for a little bit. We kept calling him Bald PNN. Okay. So basically the goal with this is to get all of the fat, the butter, and the shortening cut up into itty bitty pieces. Because then it'll blend and you'll get like, yeah, we're all fat kids at heart. I am a very fat kid at heart. I have no self-control when it comes to food. He can be ugly. I promise you. He looks like a little like naked mole rat or something. But I'm trying to get all the butter in this, and the shortening cut up, because then when you get like the right kind of like texture for the pie dough, it's kind of like mealy. And I might actually be switching to my fingers, because otherwise we're going to be here all day. And I do have to take the pizza out at some point. It's not like super ideal to use your fingers, just because it's extra heat that you don't necessarily want. But as far as like efficiency, it'll get you. You're a fat kid in body also. See, I fluctuate. Sometimes I'm like a fat kid body. Plus, like, being 5'2", as soon as I gain like 10 pounds, it's like, oh, you've got such a nice round face. Well, yep, that's my cheeks. This freaking butter is hard. Which is good, like, that's literally what I want, but anytime I have to, like, blend it together, it's killer on my hands. When did that third chin come in? And then it's like, as soon as you look at the third chin, you look at like your 6th and 7th chin, you're like, I should have just appreciated the third one that I had. I really need to start like exercising again, but it's so hot here. And then like the dogs, like their paw pads were getting kind of rough, so I was like, I don't really want to take them walking as much anymore. So unless we go at like 7 in the morning, that's not happening. Oops. No, we didn't really lose anything. We're good. I got a little overzealous. I think by the time I get this mixed up, I can drop it back in the freezer and then pull the pizza out, and then I have to add the water to it. So if you're looking at this, like, it's not really coming together. It's just turning into like chunks, which is what we want. We just want a lot of really small chunks. So I've still got like pretty big pieces of butter that I'm trying to break up, because we want it to be just really small and fine. We're just gonna keep going and going. Oh, but while I have you guys like being held captive, so I've got my follower goal at the top. And right now we're at, was it 113 out of 150? I'm going to try to get to 150 by the end of the month. Like, I'm trying to set goals for myself. That way I can be more consistent, like, even though I'm, like, super busy and everything. I'm trying to, like, get myself on more of a schedule. I'm trying to think of, like, things I can do when I hit certain milestones. So if you guys have any suggestions, I am open to hear them. Please don't make it anything too weird. Like, I'd probably be down to eat something, although I don't really want to die. I don't think I'm gonna like stick anything in my eye. That's a no-go. Lamb cake. Yeah, we could do a 150 follower lamb cake edition 2 stream. I really wanted to do the lamb cake for like every Easter, do a house tour. I feel like at this point you guys have probably seen most of the house, like, because last stream I was over there, and this stream I'm over here. But I could do like a house tour. I guess I could probably technically either stream it from my phone or just do like a video, and then show the video on stream. Okay, so this is pretty, I would say, mealy. We've still got some like bigger pieces, but the rest of it just seems really like together. And I did do 2.5 cups of flour. Everything was right. Sometimes I'm always afraid that I've just like done it wrong and that's why it's not coming together right, but I'm pretty sure it's right. Like it seems like that's about how it's supposed to go. So, hey, move, no ma'am. She like stole one of my napkins out of my little baby trash bag. Now we're gonna pull the pizza out once I get some of this dough off my fingers. Because I've already gotten it all over the handle. Just wipe that down, pretend like it never happened. It looks like pizza. I wonder if I should leave it a little bit longer. I feel like the crust itself isn't really browned, but I feel like it looks like it's done. Which is always really complicated, because like sometimes things don't really brown like you think they're going to. And then it turns out they're like exactly what they're supposed to look like. Especially, like, it's like when you see a before and after picture, like you can clearly see what's going on and you know like, oh, okay, there's definitely a difference. But sometimes if you don't have that before picture, the after just kind of looks whatever. But we'll take it out and look at it. But I feel like I probably left it in there for longer than 7 minutes. I actually took out some of the foil. Please get off of my pie pan. So, this is what we have so far. It's very cheesy, steaky. It's kind of like liquidy, which I'm going to assume is probably from the steak. Yeah, it looks good. It smells really good. I feel like it's probably done. But I feel like the outside could be browned a little bit more. Like it just looks really white. So I think I'm probably going to put it back in the oven and just let it do its thing. Just give it like maybe 3 more minutes. I feel like that would be satisfactory. Because the tips of it looked like it was browning a little bit, like it was getting there. We want to know where Sage lives. Apparently that's a thing. But I mean, this is pretty much most of the kitchen. I think, let me see. Yeah, so this is where we keep the coffee machine. This is the pantry. You can see all of our snacks. Very exciting. I have a giant box of mac and cheese. Here, I'll show you. This is my favorite thing. I eat these at work. That way I don't end up like buying lunch every day. Yes. It's so good. I love mac and cheese. And it's got like the sauce with it. And it's only like 300 calories for a whole pack. So even though it's really not healthy for me, I don't feel guilty because I'm not like eating a crazy amount. But I'll send you, if you've got any like American foods you want to try, that can obviously be shipped. I'll send some to you also. Yeah, my mac and cheese. I really don't want to take the pie crust out until I have done with this. But I really need to, because I need to add the water, I think. Let me check the recipe. So, transfer to a bowl. Mix ice water and vinegar, then pour over mixture. Stir with fork until moist clumps firm. Add more ice water if dry. So we need 6 tablespoons of ice water and 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. So let's go ahead and get those in there. And then we'll pull the pizza out like for good. No more messing with it, no more thinking about it. Otherwise I'll be here like all day hemming and hawing over my pizza. But it smells really good, so I'm pretty happy with it. No Vegemite. No, we gotta get the Vegemite. Oh, I'm supposed to combine the ice and the water. So, whoop. This is our 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, and then we need 6 tablespoons of ice water. Which actually means I need to clean out, because I had oil in this. And Death was sending Vegemite. Have you had it before, or are you just saying that? I see, I don't understand what Vegemite is. Like, when I imagine it in my head with zero, like, basis for anything. Oh, please don't tell me I froze my ice. I tried to make ice water to have, and I freaking froze it. Which should have been obvious, because it was in the fridge. We're gonna do this, though. Watch this. It's big brain time. So what we're gonna do is put ice water. I'm gonna put water over my ice. It's healthy yeast. Vegemite ratio. Just salty. See, I don't understand, because I think his mom was actually trying to get us to eat like the yeast flakes or whatever, or like nutritional yeast, I think is what they call it. And like, it's like a powder, right? Stayed in a Lander family for a week during a school trip. They just gave us 2 slices of white bread with some Vegemite. Absolutely disgusting. 1, 2. How many am I supposed to start with? So we'll start with 3 teaspoons. Tablespoons, actually. Vegemite flavored butter. That's not the way to have it. Ugh. The whole thing, like, I don't know what I imagine. I imagine something with, like, the texture of, like, what is it called? The chickpea stuff? Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Okay. See, now I feel like I should leave it in more for longer. See how, like, the cheese is starting to brown a little bit? I don't think you can really see it. Maybe we'll just cut it and see what happens. We're gonna let it sit. Oh, Marmite. See, I don't know what Marmite is either. Let me see what this stuff is. It's got a name, but I can't think of it. Hummus. So I imagine like the texture of hummus. The right taste buds. Vegemite ain't it. Until the cheese browns a bit. Okay, we can do that. Don't fight me. Cookies. So grossed out and insulted by the food they gave us. I essentially ate all the cookies for myself. Oh my god. Like, so I'm super awkward and weird. If I was in that position, I would be like so disgusted, but I would like force it down because I don't want to be rude. I would be like horrified of like being that asshole that like didn't accept their stuff. You don't eat Vegemite at all. You're like over here like trying to sell us on it, and you're like, nah, I don't eat that stuff. Okay, so this is coming together. I don't think I'm gonna have to add more liquid to it, but let's see what we can do with it first before we make that real determination. Right now we're just trying to form it into a disc, and we're actually gonna separate it into 2 because I need a top and a bottom half. Yeah, I feel like I need to add maybe like a dash more water. Just because it's still cracking a little bit. But after this, we're gonna separate it, seal it up, and put it in the fridge. People were assholes and the husband watched porn in front of us? What in the fuck? No wonder you're handicapped. Oh my god. Yeah. Who let you go there? That sounds like the worst experience ever. I'd have been like, Mom, Dad, I need to go home immediately. What did I do? There it is, my pastry cutter. So we're just gonna eyeball it. That's not quite right. Good enough. Okay. And then turn it back into a circle, because I'm gonna have to roll it out into a circle. Your fucking school. Learn English, they said. Well, your English is great. Feed him Vegemite, teach him a lesson. Listen, it was Marmite, not Vegemite. We already went over this. But yeah, that sounds like the worst experience. Like, especially being like that young. You have like no like freedom or like say so for yourself. You're just like, okay, well, we're trapped. Okay. I'm not gonna try to get this super covered. We just need it to not dry out while it's in. I didn't just throw it in the freezer. I feel like the fridge is probably fine. Just because we're not doing it for super long and it's already pretty cold still. Marmite, Vegemite, same difference. I don't know, I'm like curious to try it, but I'm also like highly concerned. Like highly concerned. Okay, so that's gonna be our top and bottom. We are done with this. You guys, there's really nothing over here, I promise you. Okay, so we're done with this recipe. We're done with the pizza dough recipe. So the last thing we're really gonna have is going to be, we've got a glaze for the Pop-Tarts, and then we've got the fillings for the Pop-Tarts. Obviously the glaze is gonna be last because that doesn't really have to solidify really, just like a little bit. So we can go ahead and make the fillings now, and then we can figure out what's going on with the dough. Hopefully it's living its best life and making good progress. I'm just gonna clear some stuff out real quick because I do not need this much stuff in my way. That's trash. Sugar. Brown sugar. Nope, I don't need any of this. But I do need my brown sugar. I'm gonna need my powdered sugar. Cornstarch. Spices. So these are coming over here. Smash or pass with Vegemite. I think most people at this point are saying pass. Just for the fact that, it seems so hard to describe. And I don't understand. I mean, yeah, like, okay, if I had it, I would try it. I would hesitate, and I would be concerned. So I'll send you my address. We're gonna get some weird shit in the mail. A small tub of Vegemite. Yeah, the smallest tub you can find, preferably. I just don't want to have a ton of Vegemite sitting around and I just have to stare at it every time I go in the pantry. Some Vovos. Just to know how bad it is. Just so I can talk shit with everybody else about the Vegemite. We can just get in a big group powwow. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a cinnamon brown sugar filling, and then we're gonna make a jam filling. I wish you could send lamingtons too. I think I might actually try to like make them on stream one day. Oh, that looks really good. Okay, we're gonna pull it out now. I think waiting was definitely the right call. So it's got like, it's too liquidy, which I think is my fault. But it's like all browned and stuff and beautiful. But I'm actually gonna try to like pour the liquid off the pizza. Like a fucking weirdo. because it's working. I think it was just the combination of like the oil from the other stuff and then the oil and the liquid from the steak. Basil, you're actually a shitlord. Quit touching my stuff. I have like this little baby trash can that I set up and she's like getting into it. You're about to be banned from the stream, child. This is why we can't have nice things. Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna get a napkin for this thing. Just to try to soak up some of that liquid. Because I don't think pizza should be liquidy. But I do take responsibility for everything that happened, seeing as this was entirely my doing. But I think it's great. I think it turned out really nice. I'll bring it back over so we can get one more look at it. I'm really happy with like how it browned and everything. There, I thought we can get 2 views of it. Beautiful. On a softcore porn ones. Granny Gangbang Part 3. You were approached for that one. Have you ever seen, they have like that pterodactyl porno? And like they're all like flapping around this girl. It's the weirdest fucking thing. Like I just want to know like who was in a board meeting and they were like, so I've got the next big thing, we're gonna make a pterodactyl porn. And people with money literally said, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna give you some money to make some pterodactyl porn. They weren't going to pay me enough. Thanks. It smells really good. I think it's gonna be fantastic. She's like licking the floor. Dogs are weird. Yeah, they also made Sharknado. Like somebody was like, I am willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. It was a banger. I've actually never seen it. Now for ASMR. Just hear me like chewing over here. It makes me very nervous to like chew or eat anything on stream. Like I'll occasionally do it, but oh yeah, Katie hates ASMR. Sometimes I forget and I start whispering and she like, I feel bad because then I'm like, oh sorry. But I just forget. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna make, this is what the people call a slurry, which is cornstarch and water. And it just makes it like, oh yeah, Polly always eats, but I feel like there's something with like her, the way her stuff is set up, like it sounds okay. It doesn't sound like you're like in her like mouth, literally. But with me, I feel like I just don't have my microphone set up. Whistling. Yes, my porn starch. So what we do with the porn starch is that we make sure we cast it for the right roles. Granny Banger 3. So basically what you want to do is just get like, you would probably normally mix it in something else that isn't this, but it's just like thoroughly mixed. That way you don't have any lumpy stuff. Because we're going to combine this with our jam, and what it's going to do is it's going to thicken the jam up. Normally I've actually never tried this before. Normally I just kind of put the jam in the Pop-Tart, but then you have a lot of times where it, can't get it open, where it just doesn't, like it runs out. Starsky and Porn Hutch. I don't think that's actually a movie or anything. 3/4 of a cup. So we're doing like a reduced amount because I don't think I'm gonna have that many. Oop. I feel like that's probably gonna be enough since I'm doing 2 different fillings. Because we're gonna do the cinnamon brown sugar, and this is actually a raspberry preserve. I just love raspberries because they're all like tart but sweet. So I think that'll be good. We just kind of guessed there, but YOLO. Oh yeah, I should probably stir that. Derp-de-der. Put that aside. So if you're ever making Pop-Tarts, really what you can do, like you don't even need to make the pie crust yourself. Like you can buy a pre-made pie crust from the store, and you can do Nutella, you could do like marshmallow fluff. Basically, if it's slightly liquidy, you can just kind of put it in there and call it a day. It isn't loaded with sugar. That's not the American way. Yeah, basically. Everything in America is just like hyper sweet. Oh, I love scones. Nutella? See, I've always called it Nutella, which is probably not right. But, let's see, back left. Okay, so we're gonna bring that to a slight boil. It'll be happy, everything's good. And then we're gonna work on, this is gonna be the cinnamon brown sugar. So we're not gonna do as much as I'm really supposed to for that because I don't wanna have a bunch of leftovers and then feel obligated to make more pie crust. Okay, I'm like, where the hell did I put the brown sugar? I knew I moved it, I just didn't know where. Okay. So we're gonna do, ow. And then throw our cinnamon in there. 1, 2. So we're gonna do half cinnamon, half allspice, just because I want to mix it up and try it. Diabetes. Yeah, that's literally us. I've actually had people that are like, I don't know how you don't have diabetes yet, because I like eat so much sugar with baking. And I'm like, but I don't really overeat anymore. Like when I first started baking, it was like I would eat 20 cupcakes. It was really bad, but they were really good. How am I supposed to say no? And then I need not quite a full teaspoon. Just need some AP flour. I think the AP flour is just to like help thicken it when it's inside. And then, okay, so this is gonna be, I need to put like a marshmallow or something in my brown sugar. This shit is crunchy. Just gonna use my fingers. This fork ain't doing it. Okay, so this is gonna be our cinnamon brown sugar filling. Let me check on that other one real quick. Make sure it's not like boiling up when I least expect it. No, it's not doing shit. It's just hanging out. You're so unmotivated to work. Same though. I've been off all week so I can just focus on like schoolwork, and I was like, well, I can sneak a stream in. Cause like I get so jealous watching like everybody else stream, and I'm like, I just want to stream. I just want to finish your art. See, that's the one problem I have if I start any projects, is I'm like, I don't want to do anything but that project. Like, ever. And I'm like, oh, if I'm reading a book also, I'm really bad if I'm reading a book where, like, if I have 5 free seconds, I'm trying to read my book. And people will be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, reading. Like, if I'm stopped at a traffic light, I'm like trying to read my book. It's really bad. Which is why I just don't start books most of the time. Oh, start again and then stop. Do you feel like you're like not sure how to finish it, or that you like want to be done with it but don't want to do too much? Or is it just like you keep getting interrupted? Okay, so that's pretty mixed. The jam is going. Let me check on that again because I don't trust it. It's doing its thing. We're happy with that. So I guess we're gonna make the glaze, but I'm actually gonna make it in here because I'm gonna have to pour it anyway. So the glaze is gonna be powdered sugar, milk, vanilla extract. I know what to do next, and it doesn't help that I can't find a stylus. Oh, yeah, that would be incredibly frustrating. Especially like when you're at the point where you know what you need to do and you're like really into it. I used my 1/4 cup and now I don't have it. We'll just use the 1/3 cup and guesstimate. 1. Will not quite fill that one up. Nailed it. Except, oh, the lid. There it is. Yeah, iPads are expensive. So the husband bought one, and that's the only reason I have it, because I basically like yoinked it from him. But otherwise, like, I'd probably just have gone without it, or not even ever realized that I like could use one. But it's actually been really handy for all my school stuff. Okay, so then we're gonna put a tablespoon of milk. Toss that in there. And a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Once I figure out where I put it. Speaking of nailed it, yes. Nailed it so good. Like, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, it'll be like okay, but even like some of the stuff they have them do, like I would struggle to do, especially in that kind of time limit. And a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. That way it's nice and delicious. We're actually gonna wipe this off so that I can use this on here. Apparently there's like a nailed it like every country. It makes me wish that I could like speak all the languages. That way I don't have to like watch the subtitles. But like, so hopefully I'm not spoiling it for anybody. If you haven't seen it, maybe you should like mute me for half a second. I'll give you a moment to do that. It's not really a good thing where you can have spoilers. But there was like that one guy that used like salt instead of sugar. Holy shit. Like I could not imagine like, and it was so funny when they like spit it out and she's like trying to find something nice to say. Like, I don't know that there's anything nice to say at that point. Like, boy, you fucked up. I am learning a new language, though. I'm working on my Spanish, but mostly because I need it for work, because everyone here speaks Spanish. Although I'm at the point now where I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore, and every time like my Duolingo app is like, don't forget your Spanish lesson, and I'm like, trying not to. Oh, shit, this is boiling. Okay. So this is all bubbly. Hopefully I didn't fuck it up. That's what happens when I get distracted. Let me get another thing so I can check it real quick. Yeah, it's fine. It's just gonna be thick with 2 C's. Okay, so we've got our 2 fillings. We're gonna let this one cool a little bit. And we're just gonna set it over here because I don't really have any other space for it, and that's just how life is sometimes. And then we are going to roll out the first pizza dough, and then we'll do the second, which is not going to be terrible. I believe in myself. The only thing that's like I hate about rolling stuff out is if it like sticks to the countertop. It's not a good time. It's actually a very bad time. Okay, so I've got parchment paper on there, and that's just so that whenever I transfer it, things will be happy and it'll go smoothly. Let's move this over here. I like how I don't even have like a rhyme or reason to where I'm moving things. I'm just kind of like arbitrarily moving them. I should probably cut a piece of pizza for my husband. But I'm very busy. And he's just got to accept that. Okay. This is all clear. And now we're going to put some flour down, so hopefully nothing sticks. I've always had like a bad time with pie dough just because it needs to stay so cold, and by the time I'm using it in the kitchen, like it's freaking hot in here. It is not a good time. And this feels actually really soft, like it probably should have been in there longer. Which means I think I'm gonna move the other one to the freezer. That way it can get extra cold. And we're not stressed about it. Okay, so I'm just gonna cover both ends. And flatten it down. Okay. See, this is the thing I don't like about pie crust, is that it always like breaks on me. And maybe I'm the problem here, but I feel like I'm not. We're gonna need more flour on this bitch. don't think this is gonna make very many Pop-Tarts, even though it said 2 discs. This does not look like... I guess it does look like 2 pies worth. See, now it's sticking to my damn rolling pin. Why you gotta be like this, pie dough? I'm just trying my best over here. Which is okay, because it doesn't have to be really rolled out too much. I'm just gonna try to hit the ends real quick. Okay. Because we're really not feeding a whole bunch of people. I think there's one more, but no idea where. Oh, I think there's like one in France, because I know Jacques is in like multiples of them. He's funny too. Yeah, okay. Actually, let's get the pizza cutter. That's gonna make this easy peasy. If I were a real adult, I would probably like measure it and everything. But let's be real. We're just gonna pull the edges down. And try to make it nice and pretty. Pretend like we know what we're doing. Like, my bad habit is that usually when I try to do stuff like this and I'm like, oh, I want to use my heart cookie cutter. And then I have like a Pop-Tart like this big. And that's all you guys get. But I'd actually like to make like actual Pop-Tart size Pop-Tarts for once in my life. Or at least not like full size, but like mini regular shaped Pop-Tarts. Which actually means I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Actually, we're going to put it in the freezer because the fridge has proven to be insufficient. Okay. So then I think if I do straight down the center, these are not even at all. 1, 2. That ain't right. But it's not bad. And sometimes that's all you gotta do. Okay, see, I got like my little like rectangle. We're just gonna pop it on this bad boy over here, but we're gonna bring him over here because it's kind of toasty over here. And I really don't want them to be that hot. Don't do what I do. See, this is what happens when you just try to balance things on top of other things. Which really isn't really recommended, but I do it a lot. But it's fine. Everything is fine. I think I did better when I was like working on that side of the kitchen and then using this side as extra space. Because at least I would just move stuff away from myself. That thing's like really warm though. Okay. On the bright side though, none of these really stuck to the countertop that bad. Except this one. Yeah, that one's trash. Ripperoni, little guy. It was nice knowing you. Let's see about this one. That guy's okay. What about you, little buddy? That guy's destroyed. Which is okay, because that means we have an even number that's not good. Which is always better. Okay. So now we've got 1, 2, 3. We'll have about 3 Pop-Tarts right there. Which is a pretty good number. Plus we still have the other dough that's got to come out. Let me put this one in here with this. Okay. Okay, that's cooled down. So I'm gonna move that there. Oops. He lost like his little leg. We'll just call him like a war hero or something. Okay. So those guys are just gonna chill right there. And then we're gonna pull out the other thing of dough after I clear off this space and then roll it out. That way we can have like tops for it. Okay. My dog's like rushing in to eat flour. It's not that good, I promise you, it's just flour. But she thinks it's something special. Okay. So the biggest thing is I just don't want like the extra little pie pieces and like the stuff that's on here to get on my new dough, because it's gonna like be too warm and everything. It's like you want to start fresh, like with a clean pan every time kind of thing. Okay. Oh, get out of here. Just going to generously flour this thing because I really hate it when stuff sticks. I know, but I'm not hungry. Hold on, let me cut it real quick. But I'm gonna make him eat it and then he can just like type in chat how good it is or how awful it is, depending on how this turned out. We probably need a better pizza cutter too. And then we're gonna go this way. No ma'am, Basil. She's over here like the pizza's for her or something. I feel like this pizza crust is not right. That or it's just because it's like not hot anymore and I'm used to cutting it when it's hot. Let me get a plate real quick. That way I can make him eat it. This is like the best thing about living with somebody else is I can just like make them my guinea pig. But like the good kind of guinea pig. Okay. But they look pretty on the plate, kind of. I feel like it would look better if I had like some greenery to like garnish it with. Have a slice and then feed the dogs the rest. I would, but it's got onions on it. And onions are bad for dogs, but mine are dumb enough to eat them anyway. I brought you a gift. Congratulations. Okay. That's been delivered, so we'll find out shortly. It smells really good still, though. Oh, shoot. Chan, 10975. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. Hi. Hopefully I'm not making you too hungry or weirding you out too bad. I feel like it's like always one or the other. Okay. So now we're gonna roll this bad boy out and he's gonna be the other half of the Pop-Tarts. I'm pretty good. I feel like you ever see those people where they make the really like beautiful pies and they've got like these beautiful like character designs on them and somehow it looks like Snow White or something insane, and I'm over here just trying to make like a regular pie crust and I'm not great at it? It's very confusing for me. Because theoretically, like, it's so easy, but maybe there's just like one step that I'm doing slightly wrong or I'm being impatient, which is a pretty me characteristic, so that's reasonable. But I think I just need to make this work with my other Pop-Tarts, because I know like even if it's not really pretty, that it's delicious. Because if you've ever had like homemade Pop-Tarts is one of those things that I think people just don't think to make, but it's actually pretty simple. Oh, you're in the office? Are you actually like in the office, like physically, or you're just like in your office? So I feel like most people are still working from home if they're like from an office setting. But I guess it probably also depends on where you are. I used my pizza cutter for the pizza. Let me rinse this off real quick. I don't know that it would be good with pizza stuff on it. Chimichurri Pop-Tarts. Not ideal. Okay. So now, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We just need like 6 tops. You can't tell what's going on with the pizza? Like in a good way or a bad way? I feel like it really needed the basil that we didn't have for the chimichurri sauce, because it just kind of tasted like a lot of parsley. Or maybe it needed like some lime. I probably should have just found. All of the flavors are so bold. Yeah. That's probably... I can agree with that. He's probably gonna be like, no, it's weird. But sometimes, like, when you have stuff like that, it comes together best, like, the next day. There are certain things I've made where I was like, yeah, it's okay. And then the next day, it just tasted like a million times better for some reason. And I think it's mostly like when the flavors really start to mix together, like sometimes with soups, but even I've had it happen with like cookies. The steak is bomb as fuck. Bitch, I told you. So I told him I was gonna sous vide it. I was like, I really want to sous vide the steak. And he was like, don't do that. And I was like, but I want to. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on, I'm gonna try the steak. I'm just gonna pick a piece of steak off. Oh, it's gonna be crusted with cheese. So, hopefully, I don't know. I feel like my cameras aren't that great. Like, you can kind of see over there where it's like brown and stuff. Put some Vegemite on top. The steak is really good. It's like, so this, I marinated it with red wine vinegar, honey, Worcestershire, and soy sauce. And then I added like some garlic in it. And it was actually really good. Like, I was pretty happy with it. Let me prick. I think it's the top ones I prick. I always forget with these. I think it's the top ones. You've got to prick the top ones, that way the steam can come out. But then you leave the bottom ones alone. Who are you arresting? The crust is a no-go, kind of soggy. Yeah, I think that was also from the steak. Yeah, he's gonna have to deal with the cheese. He'll get over it. Because like the steak, because it was done with a sous vide and it retained all the moisture, I think as soon as it started cooking in the oven, the moisture kind of came out. Like, I probably should have cooked the steak separately and then just put it on top, and I probably could have avoided that, but the steak actually tastes really good, so I don't feel bad. So now let me grab a spoon. We're gonna do the cinnamon sugar ones first. I don't think you guys can see this super well, so I apologize a little bit. One, 2, 3. Since we're only doing 6, I'm just gonna save some of that because I've got the other stuff in there. And then we're gonna do 3 jam ones. I'm always like, so my hard time with like Pop-Tarts and pie and stuff is like, you don't need as much filling as you think you do. But then I see it and I'm like, no, that definitely needs more filling. Or it's like, if you ever make tacos, it's, oh, sorry Chan, so you missed it. I made, let me go grab it real quick. So before this, we made a pizza. I made the pie crust and then I sous vide'd the steak for it, and then it's got chimichurri underneath, and then red onions. I probably should have added more garlic too. It was, I mean, it smells really good. I haven't tried it. He tried it. He said it was okay, but the steak looks amazing. It was pretty good. I was happy with it, and I really like the cheese that I put on it, although I probably could have gone with less mozzarella. So this one's done, and now we're doing the Pop-Tarts. We're making a raspberry jam-filled Pop-Tart and a cinnamon brown sugar Pop-Tart. Which also means that now it's egg time, because I gotta make an egg wash. Which is 1 egg and 2 teaspoons of milk. But my egg is trapped under my cheese because I shoved it all in here earlier. My own mistakes always come back to haunt me. You think I would learn from this, but I don't. But that's fine. Okay. So typically the purpose of an egg wash is kind of like a couple different things. Basil, I'm not giving you an egg. She's over here like looking at me like I'm about to give it to her. But yes, my milk. So the first thing we're going to do with the egg wash is use it to seal the Pop-Tarts, because you really want to create a pretty good seal between the two layers. Otherwise you'll have filling seeping out. A little bit more milk. But also we're going to put it on top, and it basically creates, whenever you put like a liquid over a pastry and you put it in the oven, it almost gives it like a glaze-ish, I guess is the best way to explain it. But it basically makes it so it doesn't dry out, and it kind of makes it shiny. So let me rearrange some stuff, that way you guys can actually see what's happening over here. Because we're done with this also. I should probably turn the oven on too. It's a smart move. I don't actually know what to, but we'll just go with 350. It's better low and slow, especially because some of these are kind of small. And I don't want to demolish my Pop-Tarts with the heat. So we're going to leave that over here. We're done with that. Put that up here. Okay, so I've got a little bit of filling on the insides. As you can see, my Pop-Tarts aren't really the same size. We're going to pretend like we don't see that. So really, these ones are actually getting kind of too soft at this point, which is not great because they're starting to fall apart. But sometimes we just gotta roll with the punches, so we're gonna make it work. So what I'm gonna do is just put some egg wash along the outsides, and this is gonna create a sealing edge when we add the top layer, and then we'll crimp it with the fork I just threw in there, but it wasn't touching anything, so it's fine. I didn't realize I would still need the fork. Okay. So now we're just going to lay this one on top and do our best to get it crimped since it was falling apart. Yeah, it is way too soft. So maybe we're just going to use our fingers. And it's basically not going to be as pretty using our fingers, but it's not going to get stuck in my fork either, which is less than ideal. That's like the one negative. Like if you're ever baking something and you have something that has to be very specifically done with a temperature, it's usually better to do it first before the entire house is like heated up. Pro tip from me to me, because I don't actually listen to myself half the time. I feel like another reason like half of my pies haven't turned out great is probably just because I've like, anytime I'm making pies, it's usually like Thanksgiving or a holiday where I'm trying to make like 5 different things rather than just focusing on like the singular pie. Okay. So now we're just gonna crimp these edges. And most of my tops are larger than my bottom, which is kind of necessary because it has to go over that hump of like flavoring in the middle. So we're not angry about that at all. Let's just get this guy with some egg wash. This is probably like the one place I would really actually need a pastry brush, because when I go to brush it on the top of these, it's not going to go well. But I don't have one because it broke, so we're just going to make do with what we do have, which happens to be my hands. Okay. But I mean, they still look kind of nice. They're not like the most hideous things I've ever seen. Especially considering that they're getting like so soft right now. I still think they're gonna bake up nicely. Just keep squishing, squish it all down. changed my mind 7 out of 10 on the pizza. See, I don't even know that I believe you because you've done this before. We were like, oh, it's not that good. And then you came back and you're like, actually, it's really good. But I don't know, I think it could have been better. My boyfriend went to the shop to get me some chocolates. When he came back, all he kept saying was, I hope there's enough hazelnuts. Oh my god. See, that's seriously a valid strategy, though. Like, I never considered to, like, feel the package to see, like, how many hazelnuts are in a chocolate. Because there's nothing shittier, like, you're buying it because it's got hazelnuts in it, and then there's no freaking hazelnuts. I think it's genius. Hi, Polly. How are you? You're not a loser. You're trying to get a good value, and that's important. Okay, so I need one more top for my thing because that one kind of like, oop, just flicked like pie crust onto my laptop. Not ideal. I just need one more little baby pie crust real quick, and then we can pop this in the oven, which I'm very excited about. Come on, little pie crust. I believe in you. Don't fail me now. I am making Pop-Tarts. Oh, my dog is cute. Wait, which one? The little one or the big one? That one? She's so dramatic. How she like kind of like side-eyed me right there. I feel like it's like a normal crust. Oh, yeah. The one having to lay down. That's Basil. She's a husky. Raspberry Pop-Tarts are good. Yeah, the little one's off to my left. After I get these in the oven, I'll grab him. Make him make a presence. Maybe give them a treat, because she's acting like it's the end of the world. Okay, so I just need a little baby pie crust for this one. Okay. So now we're going to egg wash the sides. So I'll grab the pizza in a second, Polly, so you guys can see it. It's all done. Apparently it was a 5 out of a 10, but now it's a 7 out of a 10. Because my husband's taste buds are apparently wrong. Okay, so now we're just going to squish this along here. That's probably going to be the ugliest one of all of them, but it's going to be delicious. So these aren't the prettiest Pop-Tarts. That's okay. So just pretend that, you know, they're delicious and that's all that matters. Especially since they're not for like an event or anything, they're just for us sitting at home being fat kids. Let me get this out of the way. Otherwise I'm sure he'll try to eat it when I pick him up. I actually have some leftover steak I can give them. It's probably got too much sodium in it for dogs, but it's just a little baby bite. Here's the pizza. It's a chimichurri steak pizza, so it's got like the green chimichurri sauce, and then we put mozzarella, it's got red onions, steak, and then it's got like the cotija cheese. The steak's pretty good. I haven't actually tried the rest of it, I just made my husband eat it because, I don't know, whenever I get like really into something, I just get not hungry. It's weird. But I'm sure I'll be like starving at like midnight or something, and you're gonna find me like in the kitchen just like snacking on pizza. It actually only marinated for like 4 hours maybe, but then I actually cooked it in the bag in the sous vide. So all of the juices that it was marinating in stayed with it while it was cooking. So, and it's definitely like flavorful, but it's not like super intense. I feel like the cheese is the stronger of the bunch. And that's probably like what he was saying, like, was the strong taste. But I have these like little pieces of steak that I cut off because they were kind of too weird to put on the pizza. So it was actually, I only put it in the sous vide for like an hour, but it was cooked at like 129. So I guess technically an hour, and then the next like 7 or 10 minutes in the pizza, or yeah, in the oven on the pizza. So this is the little one. This is Panini. He's old. He's like, he'll be 9 in December, I think. He's sweet, but he's dumb. He's always like getting under my feet and making bad choices. But he loves to cuddle. His freaking, like, his dream would be just to be in my lap all day while I play video games. Or like anytime I'm in bed, he's literally like right up against me. And if I scoot back, he like scoots back with me. And then there's Basil. Sit, baby. Let me see. Soft. Okay. Don't bite me. Sometimes she just gets like super excited and she turns into a crackhead. Paw. Other paw. Good girl. She doesn't know a lot of tricks, but she knows a couple of them and she's pretty decent at them. Lay down. Good girl. Hold on, I gotta break this one up. Nini's gotta get a little bit more. Soft. Good girl. Watch out, now I gotta wash my hands because y'all are gross. One time I think I've told this story before, but it's like, it was awful. She brought a dead rat inside the house one time because I left her outside with the doggy door and I was like, oh, she'll just come inside when she's done because I was getting ready for bed because I'd gotten off of work. It was horrifying. Yeah, on the way down. She knows what her tricks are supposed to be. It's funny when she gets really amped and you tell her to like give you, she'll start like, she'll go paw, paw, she'll lay down, she'll sit up, she'll lay down again. She just tries to do like every trick she knows in rapid succession. It's absolutely insane. I'm like, girl, that's not how that works. Okay. So, what we're actually do all of them, yeah. One of them's gonna be right. One of these is gonna be what you asked for, so I definitely have to do all of them. Now she's like licking my leg. Let me see. I'm gonna actually... So I want to separate some of this for the cinnamon Pop-Tarts because I want to do them different than the raspberry. This is just the glaze I made. It's like powdered sugar, vanilla, and milk. And I'm gonna add actually a little bit of red to it for the raspberry ones. And this is my very messy red bottle. I keep it in a bag because all it ever does is leak. And I'm not even gonna take it all the way out. We're just gonna do 1, 2. Should be good. Because it's just like super concentrated. Perfect. I think we're gonna grab some sprinkles too because I just really love sprinkles. Yeah, she's gonna send Vegemite. I'm gonna make him eat it. Yeah, I made some cinnamon brown sugar and then we've got the raspberry. Yeah, it's just raspberry jam. Let me see, oh yeah, I do have sprinkles. I bought a big thing of them. This is my giant container of sprinkles that I bought. Because usually, like, if I'm using sprinkles... Listen, he deserves to be punished. I'll use like a cup of them at a time in my cookies and stuff, so... I bought a bunch of sprinkles. Like, when I got this big of like a box, my husband was like, what do you need that many sprinkles for? But it's like every time I buy them at the store, because you only get like the little containers. Oh, you know what I didn't do, because I'm dumb? I didn't do the top of the frickin' Pop-Tarts with egg wash. Why am I like this? This is like the one step that I always forget to. I don't know how. I think because I get so excited. Cherry ripes to wash the Vegemite down. Yeah, at least send like really delicious things if it's not going to be great. Well, whatever. I'm gonna grab a beer because that's about how things are going. I got these like, you'll appreciate this, Val. It's really pretty. It's a fruited sour. But what does it have in it again? Let me go grab the box. I forget. But it sounded really good. And it was really pretty. So it's got acai, guava, and elderberry. So I was excited to try it. Caramello koalas. I'm imagining like the little chocolate ones, but I feel like what I'm imagining is almost never right because I'm literally just making it up in my head. This is pretty good. It's almost like, almost a little too like hoppy for me, but definitely still drinkable. Not like it's gonna kill me. Okay, so it's like the outside cookie layer with like a chocolate layer and then a caramel layer. That actually sounds really good. I like sours a lot too. They're very good. Or like the gozes. I think I have like a margarita gose in the fridge. Nope, those are still cooking. Now I'm afraid it's gonna like overcook and burn because I didn't put the egg wash on top. Birdie beetles. I feel like I need to like Google these things as you guys say them because Reese's Pieces? We have Reese's Pieces here. Are they the same thing? Or are they like... Are Reese's Pieces actually Australian and I just don't know it? Yeah, I would say like they're... Because we have like regular Reese's and then they came out with the Reese's Pieces. So I assume that they're mostly the same thing. This kitchen's a giant mess. I don't know who would have done that. It certainly wasn't me. Hi, Bree. Did you see the pizza or did you check out for that part? So I'll go grab it real quick. I've been like showing it off to everybody that comes in like, oh, look at my pizza. And they're probably like, okay, weirdo. Okay, I will get it. I haven't actually eaten it yet, but I made Josh try it. At first he gave it a 5 out of 10 and then he upped it to a 7 out of 10. But that's my pizza. It's nice and like lightly browned on the cheese. The steak part is really good. I did try the steak. But I think it was probably a little too liquidy after everything was added. So I would probably, I guess, just add like the steak. But I'm so full. I can try a bite. Just have to make sacrifices. Oh. I'll just make it a really big bite. It's really good. I actually really like it. I think it would have been way better with the basil that I couldn't get a hold of. Damn, Tulip is streaming and has her girlfriend. Maybe we can raid him after this. You ready for breakfast now? So the pizza's actually really good. I really like that I added the cotija cheese and the onions are actually perfect because they're nice and like crisp without being super strong. Maybe the mozzarella I think was too thick, which is my fault because I'm not great at like cutting mozzarella. So that one's on me. So I would say next time maybe instead of the actual mozzarella block, I'd probably just shred it and then sprinkle it. That way I could do the thin layer mozzarella and then maybe like pre-sear the steak and then add the cotija cheese and the steak at the end. And then just maybe like broil it. But it's definitely like the crust is kind of soggy from all of like the liquids that we had. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I think that maybe whenever I go to reheat it, if I just like toss it back in the oven, it'll be perfect. You need it delivered? Listen, I already told Katie, but all I'm saying is we have a guest room. I mean, there's really nothing else to do here except visit me, but if we drive like 5 hours, we can go hiking. Rather than your junk mail. Are you still getting junk mail from me? That's so weird. Like, I literally sent you like one piece of mail and like one package, and now you're getting junk mail from me. Nope, those are still soft. Okay. So the Pop-Tarts are still cooking. We got the frosting all mixed up. We're gonna have a beautiful like pinky red. Cheezels? I feel like Cheezels sound like Cheez-Its, so I'm like a fan already, but then I feel like I'm gonna get them and be very confused. Now I've got like cheese stuck in my teeth, and like I want to pick at it, but I don't, because you guys are watching me. then I feel like I don't think you can see anything. So it's probably fine. Fairy bread? No. Does it have sprinkles in it? I think I've heard of it before. And it sounded very good. Fairy bread does sound fun. Like, it just sounds like it'd be one of those things that you just, like, eat as, like, a 5-year-old. Whenever you, like, you go to the market instead of getting a cookie. Right? Oh, so it does have sprinkles. I was not wrong. Have you on their screen so I can see these Pop-Tarts? Listen, they should come out of the oven soon. I hope. They're not that big, so I feel like they should cook really quickly. But they're all like soft. I touched them. It was not a good time. Fairy bread is for fairies. I mean, but we could also enjoy fairy bread. It's like monkey bread. Monkeys don't eat it. Yeah. So whenever I was hanging out with Trix and Sego Mod at their parents' house, like we were playing board games and stuff, he literally, like, their dad went to bed and then he woke up, like, because he heard I was making Pop-Tarts, got dressed, and came back downstairs. And they were really fucking good. Like, that was probably the second time I'd made them, but they were amazing. Like, I love homemade Pop-Tarts. It's one of those things where it's like, you could literally buy pre-made pie dough and you would still have a really good time with it. It's just, you can literally, like, even what I did, so I combined the cornstarch with the water to make like a slurry and to heat up the jam. You can literally just put regular jam in there. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to do anything else. Literally just like make a pie crust and pop that bitch in the oven. And it's really good. Which I guess is basically what Pop-Tarts are. They're just little hand pies, but like, it doesn't occur to me on a regular basis to like turn around and make some. No, they're still cooking. They're almost done though. They're starting to firm up a little bit. Ooh, peach Pop-Tarts. Yeah, I think we decided Lamingtons were Aussie, but they like won't ship well. But I want to try to like make them sometime. So if you guys have like an authentic recipe, I'll go ahead and like make them on stream. And then I'll just pretend that you guys shipped them to me. Or you shipped them to me emotionally. And that's what's important. That's what counts. Because I found a recipe years ago and I intended to make them, but I couldn't find the right coconut. Because it's not the desiccated coconut, it's like the dry coconut or something that goes on the outside. Because with the coconut that we have here is like sweet and moist, but the coconut that was for the recipe was actually like drier. I'm not going to promise that they're going to be pretty though, because I feel like anytime I see them, they're like these perfect little squares. And I don't know if that's like the actual form they come in or if I'm just imagining things, but they're probably not going to be cute little squares. Yeah, send me some coconut shreds. Like, honestly though, if you sent me like ingredients, I would probably enjoy it as much as getting like actual product. I think as long as you don't send like seeds, I think it's fine. Little sponges. I think I have like an herb in my mouth. What, PNN? He always does this thing where he like taps on my leg to get my attention. Except he just wants to be held again and get more snacks. Okay. No, they're not ready yet. They're getting close. They're a little like soft in the middle where all the moisture is. I just want to make sure that the bottoms are fully cooked before I pull them out, otherwise we're gonna have soggy bottoms. I forget, was it the Great British Baking Show? Mary Berry? Nobody likes a soggy bottom. Except my accents are horrible, so I apologize to everybody in London. Oh, is it? So I don't spend like a ton of money. She always seems like so cute and friendly. And I'm like, Mary, you would look at my stuff and you would sigh in disappointment. I'm always afraid my stuff is gonna harden and create like, what is it? It gets like a film on top, and I won't be able to pour it because I gotta be able to like pour it on top and have my thing. The Unfortunate Spaceman on Steam. I will look it up. Actually, oh, I don't think I have Steam on my laptop anymore. I had to reformat my laptop and then install Windows 10 on it, so I lost like everything. It's been really awful. The frickin' worst. Now I lost my other thing. Ooh, it's free. But I say, Polly and Vel were streaming. What was it called? Bomber. It was Bomber something, but it was like Super Bomberman from when we were kids. So then I downloaded that because it was free. Yeah, Bomber Grounds. It looked hilarious. So I'm probably gonna have to try it sometime. Especially if just for the fact that my words. Just for the fact that it's free. Like, I love free games because then I'm like, I don't feel guilty if I like pick them up and put them down and don't like spend a lot of time on them. Don't mind me, I'm just like stirring this one with my finger because it's starting to get a film. You died so quickly. Yeah, I think there was like the first time when Polly went in, I was watching her and she like walked in and died like instantly, and I was like, ooh, that's rough. Scott and Tokyo got off our stream to stream it ourselves because it's so good. It looked really good. Plus, like, I loved playing it as a kid. It was just one of those games where it was like, I guess it's just always different every time. Plus that cupcake level, Spaceman is like werewolf basically with guns and stuff. Oh, see, I love Werewolf. It's a really fun game, like the card game. I don't know if you guys have it like over in Australia, but it's called like One Night Werewolf, or there's just like regular werewolf. But I get so much anxiety trying to like lie to people and trying to be deceptive. I don't know how many times even, like I've played it with people who were like newer. So I was doing a lot of the talking and they're like, well, you're talking a lot, so you're the werewolf. And I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to find the werewolf. Okay, I think these are done. Let me poke them a little bit more. Yeah. So they didn't brown a lot, and that's my fault. Because I freaking didn't put the stupid stuff on them. I need a little spatula. Come here, little guy. Let me just check the bottoms real quick. Yeah, the bottom looks good. Looks nice and puffy. Different variations of it. One person's the monster, they have to kill everyone. We should do a family game night. We can change colors. Ooh, to other spacemen. Oh, that seems terrifying. I'm down though, like I'm down to stream something like that. I feel like it's better to stream something like that with people you know, just because otherwise it feels like you kind of get too off track. Like people just start accusing you for the sake of accusing you. Whereas like if you do it with people you like know that they're up to no good, and you've got to like make sure everybody else understands how up to no good they are. Oh no, that happens. I'll never forget, what was it? We were playing Secret Hitler. That one's rough. Like, the people that you think are Hitler are not Hitler. And then suddenly Hitler. You can murder them and they become visible to the monsters. I suspect everybody. It's very stressful because you're sitting there and you're like trying to convince people that you're either evil or not evil, and trying to like double think and triple think like everything that everybody's doing. Or you've got like when someone only answers no to everything. So then it's like, are they evil or they're just being like chaotic? Ugh, I'm stressed just thinking about it. That's the one thing that I don't like about living in Texas, like so far away from everybody. I actually brought like my Cards Against Humanity game out here finally, but I have like nobody to play it with anyway. You love the witch hunt? It just makes me so anxious. I mean, I'm down, but I'm like preemptively anxious. I'm worried right now about like up to 2 weeks into the future. People say no to my request of buying timeshares. I usually kill them. Oh, hold on. Let me grab my box real quick. I have like the big box for cards, and then I've got like the crabs and stuff expansions. Yeah, it's not too high. I can reach it. I'm an adult. I'm just gonna like knock all my other board games out. Like, this is my big box of cards. Just because like you have to have all the expansions, because if you don't, you're like using the same cards over and over again. Oh, is there like an online version? Let me get this lid off. Oh yeah, this was like they were doing some kind of like promo thing, so I paid for that. Oh no, my little cards are falling over. They're good. Everything's fine. But yeah, I'm a giant nerd. I love like board games. I miss board games night. Board game nights. They were the best. I'm gonna put this over here for now, because I gotta reorganize the closet now because things fell down. But we had to ship that, like we had to bring it back from Florida, so we had to like put it in a carry-on because it's too heavy for the actual checked bag. I think these are still pretty hot. They have to cool down a little bit before I can add the glaze to it, or it's just gonna drip right off. So you guys are stuck with me for a little bit longer. We're just hanging out now. Plus games like Uno and Go Fish. I feel like all games are like the best games when you get the right group of people. Like you could literally play anything and it would be fun. Panini's like licking my calf. I got a bunch of fake gold, silver, and bronze coins because D&D. You made to play for called Triple Triad. Oh, I'm drinking, this is Sippin' Pretty. It's a fruited sour. It's pretty good. It's probably a little bit more sour than I'm used to, but very drinkable. Use the coins for the game instead of the regular paper coins the game came with. I mean, that's probably something I would do. I love card games though. Like, I really want to play Witcher 3 just because I found out there's a card game in it, and I'm like, gotta play the card game. I'm like terrible about that. Like even, what was it, Final Fantasy VIII, I really didn't like the game itself, but their card game was top notch. Like I enjoyed that card game. I basically got to the point where I could play the card game like on like the school ship or whatever, and I didn't get any further. Witch Hunt. Is that like another werewolf one? There's another one. I think my husband was playing it with some of his friends. It's only like $5 or something on the Steam store, but it was like a spaceship one where you've got to figure out who it was. I heard him like screaming one night, like, "No, it's not me, it's not me." And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in there? Ooh, there's a card game in Final Fantasy 14. So you don't tell me that, because now that's like another game that I gotta play. I always feel really sad because like I don't think I started playing Final Fantasy 15. I didn't get that far in it, but there was no card game. Please ask him. Here, I'll go ask him right now. I'll bring you guys with me. Hey, what was that spaceship game you guys were playing the other day where you were screaming in the middle of the night? Huh? The spaceship game? Where one person was like an alien or something? Deceit. Deceit? Okay, thanks. It's called Deceit. He always looks at me like I'm dumb when I ask him stuff like that. Oh, a Salem one? I think I've seen the Salem one. I think it's more like a text-based one. I think my sisters were trying to get me to play it one time. Deceit? Yeah. I think that one's like space-based. Town of Salem. Also sounds spooky. I think these... No, these are still really hot. I feel like I should take them off of this thing. Oh no. That one broke a little bit. Guess he'll just have to be eaten first. This actually isn't that hot anymore. Just gonna do that. Move this back. Apparently I never turned the oven off. 'Cause I'm the worst human. just gonna move these over here. That's like the one nice thing about having like marble countertops is that they're so cool. Like physically cool. Free to play. I'm all about free to play. I think what I'm gonna do is stir this again with my fingers. Because I don't want it to make a crust. Hi, Basil. I know, you think that you just deserve all of the treats and all of the food. But that's not gonna happen. Because it's not healthy for you. Can I have a kiss? I just want to kiss you on the forehead, though. I don't want you to lick me. No, wait. She's just gonna stare at me the whole time. GTFO. Is that... Do you actually get like a gun in that one? That one sounds really familiar. I want to say it's on my wish list. I was waiting for it to like go on sale, and it probably did during the Steam sale, and then I got distracted. This freaking... Oh, I have to show you guys something I got. After my failed VR stream because I made myself like physically ill, I got some ginger crystals. I do get easily sidetracked. But listen, I got ginger crystals, so I'm gonna try to like get these and eat them before I do VR. I'm gonna do like some tests and see if it still makes me sick. Otherwise I gotta like look into some more stuff. Or eat straight ginger maybe. But hopefully not. Guns and hammers, sneaky beaky spooky game. I feel like, do you kill people with the hammers, or are you like, it was last week, I think. I want to say maybe Thursday? Oh, you kill monsters with the hammers? I thought maybe you were like repairing something or like taking down walls. I did, I played Face Your Fears, which is more like, it was like a story kind of thing, where like it was just jump scares, but it was pretty horrifying. Malls. And then, I tried to do, it was like a haunted mansion kind of thing, but like at first I was like chilling and everything was cool, and then I got very sick. These freaking things are still really hot. This one's not too bad. Except like right in the middle where I need to like put the stuff down. The pie crust is pretty good. It's a little salty, which is weird. But I think that once I add the stuff on top, that it'll work out really well. I just have to get to the point where I can add the stuff on top. Maybe I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it with one of the little ones. Like maybe if I do just a really little bit at a time. Let me pull this back here so you guys can watch me do it. I just want it to melt just a little bit. So I don't want it to make a giant mess everywhere. Because I'm anticipating it spreading due to the heat, I'm just kind of putting it right in the middle. Plus it's like authentic Pop-Tarts, like the ones that you buy at the store, because like half of it's not even covered in stuff anyway. Got 'em! And then we're just going to sprinkle it with a little bit of cinnamon. Just to indicate that this is in fact... Oh. Beautiful. Let's do the rest of the little ones. I think I don't have enough regular like cinnamon stuff. I didn't put enough in my little container. One of them will have to be pink. It'll be okay. But they'll be delicious and I'm very excited. Freaking love Pop-Tarts. get the rest of this out of this container. And then we just sprinkle with some cinnamon. It's a little spotty in areas, but that's okay. And then we're going to use this one. And then we'll just sprinkle with some cinnamon to make sure that it looks like a cinnamon Pop-Tart. I'm just going to give it a nice little swirl because we can. And then just a sprinkle of cinnamon. Like destroying half the Pop-Tarts just by being too aggressive. Or maybe that's the one that was already broken and we're okay. Okay. Ready, set, go. This is the nice thing about doing something that's like a little bit warm, is that it just kind of does your job for you. Because normally I'd have to get like my special thing out. Hi Blueberry! The Pop-Tarts are coming good. They're probably like not the prettiest Pop-Tarts in the world, but they're finally like just getting cool enough that I can start to frost them. So I'm trying to like delicately get this on here so it doesn't overfill. But otherwise everything is a-okay. Just gonna give it a little bit of help right there because we got a little spot that's open. We're not really going for perfection anyway, because let's be honest, these aren't going to last too long. They're going to get eaten super fast. That's like the horrible thing about Pop-Tarts, is that like you put like several hours worth of work into them and then they're just gone. And you're like, okay, now I want to make more, which is a dangerous game to play. Because I'm actually going to have like leftover dough after this, and I'm thinking I just need to freeze it and save it for like a rainy day when I'm like desperate for Pop-Tarts. Okay, now let's get that last one. Just real. See, I got a little too overzealous with that one, so now it's like spilling off. Which is okay. It's not too bad to clean up, so I'm not really worried about it. But even then, I try not to stress about things, because obviously it's already done and there's nothing I can do about it. Dun dun dun. Okay. Oh yeah, we want to add sprinkles. Haha, I almost forgot, but then I looked over and I saw it. Oh man, please don't tell me they're already too dry. That's like the one thing I don't like about doing about anything that has to like dry like that. Yeah, like most of my sprinkles are just falling off. Well, we got a couple. That's all that counts. Let's see. Let's do this cinnamon sugar one. I'm gonna break it in half. Oh shit, that's not cinnamon sugar, that's raspberry. So I guess I technically did it right. The crust is like super flaky, but very good. And the filling's actually really good. I wasn't really sure what to expect with it being so thick, but I think it's actually made it better than just doing like the jam by itself. I'm gonna go give this rest to my husband real quick, because I'm actually not even hungry enough to finish this freaking Pop-Tart. I have a gift for you. It's raspberry. No ma'am. Basil's over here trying to see what's in my hand. It's actually nothing, it's just my hand. But she always thinks that everything is for her because she's the big baby. You're so hungry. I'm sorry. She is sweet, but she's a big baby. She's spoiled. Like, she knows she's cute, and that's the problem. Right? No. She's over here looking at me. Okay. Well, I think we're done for the night. I thought I was going to eat a cinnamon sugar Pop-Tart. I'm probably not going to be able to get good pictures of these. Needs more steak. Yeah. I mean, technically you could make like a savory steak Pop-Tart, but that's probably a little too weird for me. Not really in the realm of things that I would probably really do. Just for the fact that, yeah, so actually if you look, it depends on if you're on mobile. Thanks, Bree. So I do post them in Discord, but if you go on my actual page on the, let me open up the thing. On the actual Twitch website, it'll have a latest recipes. So I've got the pizza dough is up there, the pie crust, and then the Pop-Tart fillings and the jam. So it's the jam and the cinnamon brown sugar and then the glaze are all on there. And those are the recipes that I use in the stream. Except for I didn't put the toppings for the pizza on there just because it wasn't really like a super strict amount. It was just kind of like an arbitrary amount based on what I do. Yeah, so I've got the recipes on there. And then obviously whenever I do the next stream, I archive those recipes in my Discord. So if you go into the Discord, you'll see, I think it says streamed recipes is what the channel is called. But I actually post the recipe and the actual instructions for how to make it in there. That way, maybe if you missed it and the VOD is already gone and it wasn't something I was able to get onto my YouTube channel, you can go back and see it. And you can use those recipes, but I try to be organized. I am most of the time, I succeed. I think last time I didn't get my kale salad recipe onto the latest recipes, but I got it into the Discord, so usually if it doesn't make it onto one, it makes it onto the other. You're welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. It was fun. See, we should raid somebody. Let me see. Coding Mama's doing some coding, I think. Building a website from scratch. Let's raid her. Yeah. I like Coding Mama. She's so sweet. She's always like supportive of everything. Let me make sure I spell this right because I think I've done it wrong in the past and messed it up. /raid Coding Mama. Yeah. And it looks like it's ready to go. Also, let's play Fall Guys. Fall Guys is like dangerous because I could be there for hours. Oh, is she in intermission? Let's see, I can like delay it I think if I don't click the raid now button. Oh, I can hit cancel I guess? Do you know how long she's going to be in intermission? Should we say a work? I can't tell if that's a typo or if I just have no idea what you're trying to say. Say a work? Say a word? Good stream. Can't wait for the carrot cake. I do need to do the carrot cake just because I would like love to eat some. Let's go ahead and raid Coding Mama and she can come back to it. I'll go ahead and put it back up. Hopefully it's not too long of an intermission. Thanks for stopping by though, guys. It was fun. I don't know, I always love doing like the baking streams, even though they're pretty stressful, just for the fact that DM me your address and I'll post it. My reactions. But yeah, okay. Thanks guys. Bye. Oh wait, let me put my stream ending thing up, that way it's like official once I find it. Haha. Night. You guys are the best.
think I missed my alert.